understand what I'm gesturing about. But now I can't throw things up on that monitor because it's gonna be it's your camera. I'm like,
Yep.
ugh.
So what we've learned
Skype
is
is great except for when Streamlabs wants to capture something.
Skype doesn't like my camera. It
It's
wants
not
to
your
keep me
camera.
from you.
It's like I don't
Well,
know.
my
It's like
video feed.
Streamlabs. Maybe it's because I'll have to see. I'm
Thank you
the
for
only
the
thing I
subs,
can.
guys.
Oh, thank you guys. The only thing I can think of is that it's something with the Skype app, like because I have no idea.
I don't know. I feel kind of bad. I basically made this guy do the entire heroic public event on his own, and I just came in for the boss.
Nice.
I'm that person right now.
Oh, dude, I spent.
2 ciphers.
Oh wow.
It's raining ciphers.
What?
I'm fucking jealous of that. How many ciphers do you
It's
have so far?
raining ciphers.
14.
You have
Oh
14?
wow, that's not bad. That's not bad.
You're
I've
rich.
played a bit of Crucible. That's basically what I've been doing, is just playing Crucible.
God, I played Crucible like all day
drop-
yesterday. I got 3.
Well, they upped the rate
I
this
was
morning.
I was using the patrol trick because like that was something I could do like literally while I was on the call, and it took like no brain power because you just literally run laps. And like I was doing it on the moon, like, and so it's the kill and Tolan patrols. I'm just like,
Oh.
like I'm not listening to it. It's I played on silent, so it's like whatever. And I'm just so I've gotten 12 caches so far. I was giving Mal a hard time earlier today.
Did you see what Veru said in chat, Blue? He thinks it's because of the way Windows apps are installed in Windows.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking that it's I gotta check. I'm curious if the Skype app has an update that it's not telling me that it has.
Let's see here. I just gotta remember to use the actual keyboard because I've got both my laptop and my PC running. Shh. Shh. It's fine.
Lead rhymes with read. Lead
Oh my
rhymes with
God.
red.
What?
Was that
Lead
the
does
conversation you
not
had with your
rhyme.
brother the
Oh
other
my
day?
God, it was so funny.
God.
He's like, if you ever doubt that English is a shit language,
English is a shit language.
I'll have to see if I can grab that from him, that chat. It's like when you realize that lead can rhyme with lead, or lead can rhyme with read, and red can rhyme with lead.
You can't
But
even fucking
lead,
say it.
I know, it's like, it's fucking annoying,
You
but
suck at
lead
English.
does not
Lead.
rhyme with red.
Lead and red. I blame the British.
It sounds legit.
I'm good with that.
Yep. It's their fault. Don't at me, British.
Don't at me, guys. Don't at me, Bife.
Don't at me, Biff.
Biff.
So we're blaming Bife.
No, in
Chat.
Maddie's chat we call him Biff.
No, you don't call him number 4?
No, we just call him Biff. Or that guy.
Ow, fuckers.
Is that your Steam number?
Yes, it is. Are we not friends on Steam? We're
yeah,
friends
we are.
on Steam.
I know. I was really excited. I thought we were all just, pens dropping the biddies.
Yeah.
We gotta
4,000.
get out 4,000 titties.
Oh shit! Legend and you can't say. Never mind.
Reach Legend and Comp. Nice job, Black Flag.
Oh, wow.
I have yet to actually make a real run at that. Don't let Blue go under the radar without you shouting out his guest appearance on Guardian Down.
Oh,
Yeah.
Blue.
I'll put that in.
Good job, Blue.
Wait, what?
Are you
Out there, world.
okay? You're congratulating him on being social.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I am
Yeah,
so
Blue.
confused about what
Speaking
the
to
fuck we're
people
talking about.
outside the home.
Consume, enhance,
I wasn't
replicate.
speaking.
Wow, thank you for the gift subs pins.
Yeah.
Aaron's going to
Question you.
does
Consume,
Aaron
enhance,
have
replicate.
access to your bank account? Like, does she see half the shit you fucking buy on Twitch alone? I've seen how many subs you put out, sir.
Nope.
Nope.
I was gonna say
I safe.
my fundraiser is like half funded by pens, so
Right?
yeah.
Oh,
The
good
reporter's
lord.
funded by pens.
Blue. Oh, God damn it. Because I don't have. You can't say that when you don't have your cam on. Which part are you? I know you're talking about something Orchid said,
What?
but which part?
Her
My
initial
brain
reaction,
immediately
her
went back
initial
to the biddies
reaction
to the
to
titties
Pins.
comment.
Yep.
We got dirty minds here, guys.
I just remember, I think when Orchid finally figured out that, or well, your I think it was your tweet when everyone was like, my score is this, my score is that, and I was like, mine's 2, and both you and Orchid messaged me privately. We're like, what?
Yeah.
Well,
I think my response to that to Orchid was, all right, well, I'm done breaking the internet. I'm gonna go back offline now.
I was like, I'm sorry, what?
well,
Two?
okay. I like how I recognize that a lot of those things are pretty common for a lot of people's experiences, but some of those things I'm like, what the fuck? And one of the things that you told me that I had asked about, you were like, oh no, I've done that. I was like, then what the fuck is left? What have you done, Blue?
And he wouldn't tell us. Well, he didn't tell
No.
me. He might have told you.
I don't
I
remember.
used
if he
my
did or not.
imagination, and it was really delightful. And so that's all that really mattered, is that like I just sat there and like had a stupid grin on my face. I'm like, yeah, Blue, you're fucking dirty.
Well,
I mean,
things on okay.
you're
Some
not
of the
wrong.
things on there were like bungee jumping and skydiving.
Hi, Cobra.
I can't even remember what else was on there.
There was some good ones on there. It was like, but it was like watching everyone react to basically you guys' reaction was like, oh, I have tricked everybody very well.
You have. Good job. That's okay. I know
Julie-
you now.
So I was talking with Julie the other day about some of the plans coming up for the server, and she's like, don't you guys have like a really strict like PG rating type thing in there? It's like, yeah. She's like, he is the same guy who sends you and your other co-hosts cosplays that are risky.
Is that the
One word
definition
for
of those?
That's what she calls it. It's like, yeah.
Noted.
She's
I
like,
mean, if she's getting mad, I can send her stuff too.
I have to make sure my phone is angled away from all the cameras in my lab before I open it if you text me, Blue.
oh my god.
And it doesn't matter like what it is. I'm like, oh shit, Blue texted me. Gotta like look and see where my body is positioned before I open any text from you ever.
I'm so glad that I have reached the pinnacle of paranoia.
I am paranoid so much now. I have no
Was on
idea.
the food train. Oh god. Blue is. What did you send us earlier today? The question about Genshin.
Someone took who's the librarian? The one that's really
Lisa?
Lisa.
Mm.
So they took
She's my
Hi.
waifu.
Oh,
You know?
Oh my.
fuck yeah, Lisa's amazing. But the someone took all the audio lines from Lisa and just made just made a clip of just those. Like, actually did not do anything except take them out of context, and it is the most fucking uncomfortable thing in the world because I'll have to see if. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Oh god damn it! I already.
Because the animation that he did was the animated guy sitting at his computer, and he's like it just slowly gets more and more like, what the it's yeah, Lisa's voice is so dangerous.
Interesting.
And it's literally he just recorded her running around, like, because you know when they have the running around, they have like the random noises, and her voice lines are
I don't know how to follow this up, guys.
yeah, Genshin Impact. Gotta collect all the waifus.
You know what? When it has its own booby physics, you know it's a good game.
Which is really, really funny about that, because, like, honestly, after playing it's not actually, like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I haven't even really noticed it, other than with Lisa. Lisa, you notice it. But, like, all the other ones, it's not, I don't think it's made, I don't know. To me, it's not, like, over the top. Go for it. I don't care.
I played like maybe 20 minutes of it where I got like the flying powers, and then I was like, I don't really want to play this on my phone.
Oh yeah, I don't.
And when
play
I'm
it
at
on
my
phone.
computer, I don't want to play it on the PC. I'm gonna go back to Merge Dragons.
Merge Dragons is so
I
good,
like
though.
it.
I know why you want to go to Merge Dragons. So
I love organizing shit.
Oh, I
It's
love
so
like
good.
arranging them all on the side and then watching them go.
Yes, I am. I'm to the point where I'm like constantly trying to make the giant orbs. Now my brain went right back to the boob comment, because unless you know Merge Dragons, you don't know why you need giant orbs.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Merge Dragons is amazing.
It's my waifu.
It's
Pins.
the funnest thing is actually when Kashin's playing him and she's talking, so she gets distracted and she misses the merge for the 5, and she's like, mother. I was like, this is the randomest game to yell at, but I completely understand. Like,
because you lose the opportunity for the bonus, and it takes so much work to get it to
especially
that
when
point.
you start chaining them, like, because you can chain, you know how you can chain it so that it's 5 5 5 5 5, like, yeah, it's like when Julie got in the fight with the Team Rocket guy. Motherfucker.
We went on a Pokemon Go date it was Wednesday night. Wednesday night before I helped you get your Forerunner title, and
I'm going to regret this.
There was a ton of Team Rockets and raids going on, and she was just cursing left and right as we're walking down Main Street next to like old couples, and she's very into it, guys. It's kind of adorable. If you want her Pokemon trainer code, I'm more than happy to give it to you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to be Pokemon friends, because one of my Australian friends just gave me his code because he has like a special kangaroo trainers or some shit. So there's like there's apparently special Australian shit that you can only get from those servers. I'm like, okay, sign me up. So he's like sending me those things. So I'm back on the Pokemon wagon. It's not good.
Speaking on Pokemon, if you have, I think it's Sword and Shield, they're giving away Ash's Pikachu.
Yes.
I tweeted
they also did an event Tuesday night where you could catch Pikachu with Ash's hat on it.
Right, with
on Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, they did it's a code that you can put in and you get Ash's Pikachu and Sword and Shield.
That's awesome. Where did my screenshots go? Do you have a buddy on yours? Orchid? Do you have a buddy for your Pokemon Go?
Let me pull my Pokemon Go up. Oh, my phone's almost out of battery, so I'm going to have to get plugged for it. So I can sit here with Pokemon open.
Do it.
Just catch all the Pokemon like while we're recording. Just like, oh, there's one.
Just remember, Orchid. Use Vine Whip.
Use what? Vine Whip?
Vine Whip. I have. Who do I have? Oh, I have Firo. This is my guy, my buddy.
I have a white Ninetales.
Oh,
is that the?
I'm only
version?
I'm only level 11.
I'm at level 27 or 28 right now. What were you gonna ask, Jay?
Is that the Hawaii one?
No, it's an ice. So I caught an ice Vulpix.
Alola. Yeah, thanks, Wicked. The Alola version of Ninetales. Yeah,
it is It is the Alola.
Yeah. Okay.
Or la. That thing.
Yeah, it's the variation that they I think that was like what that was last generation they introduced that one, or was it last generation? Because
no idea.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Sun and Moon. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
This one.
Yeah.
She's pretty.
Yeah, I'm more of a. I was always one of my favorite ones to have when I was playing it on the Game Boy was Eevee. Just simply because you throw it out and it's like, oh, that's adorable. And we'd always have like a level 100 Eevee, and it's just like, it's adorable. It's gonna eat your fucking face. Now let's go.
Pokemon Go has a fun evolution thing with EVs too, because if you name your EV certain names, like secret code names that you can find on the internet real easily, so it's so secret, you can get different types of EV evolutions.
Yeah, because that's what determines what they evolve into, right? Is if you name them certain things, they'll evolve into one of the evolutions. If you just name it standard, is it just like random?
No, it always goes towards the standard upgrade for EV.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think it always goes to fire.
I just caught Purloin.
I'm sorry, I heard I just copped her loins.
I did just cop her loins. No, I caught a purloin.
I'm pretty sure somebody in the White House got in trouble for that.
No, it was
what?
a purloin.
Yeah, Dancy, I did not know that shit. That is amazing. That is such an awesome mechanic. I like almost want to get back into the game because of that. They have so we were talking on the Guardians Down podcast, and they are talking about like one of the mechanics that is Pokemon Go.
Most likely.
No, it was Sun. I don't know, one of the Pokemon generations he was talking about, like they added the ability so like when you're walking around, if you're in tall grass, you always have like the random attack. No, it's the Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. Okay, that's what it was. But like in the Let's Go versions, you can actually see the Pokemon moving in the grass, so you can avoid them. And I was like, you can what now?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's the fuck? Like that would have saved so much time.
Orchid will be right back.
It has Sword.
I don't know. IAB is though. Cobra said he was talking about something else.
Yeah, he was talking about.
He was talking about the EV evolutions because you can only do it one time.
Do you only get one EV
per type?
Go? Or can you can catch multiples, right?
Oh yeah, I have right now. There's a Mareep public or community event, and those fucking sheep are everywhere. And guess
so
what?
Fluffy.
I have caught probably 200 of those Mareeps, and I've only gotten one 3-star out of the entire bunch.
Those are
because they have an appraisal thing.
Aren't those the electric sheep?
Yeah. Yeah, that upgrade into some weird like llama thing.
I just like the fact that I looked at them and I was like, oh, it's static electricity because they're fluffy.
Mm-hmm. Do you dream of electric sheep?
Jeez.
Oh, it's such a good short story.
Green, I'm adding you.
Yay! Let me know if you need to raid. I have some remote passes right now, but I think I may only have 1 or 2.
I need to raid. I'm level 11. I don't need to do anything.
I caught, is it a Maltros or Maltris? Maltris? The fucking firebird.
Moltres.
I don't know that. Mm-hmm. I caught one of those during the raid.
Yeah, I remember you saying that, and I'm like, oh, that's a new one. I don't know that one. And you're like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's the fire one. I was like, wait, you mean Moltres? Like,
I don't know the fucking names.
It's Moltres, like number 3. Because you had Articuno, and then...
My brother watched the show, and that was the only exposure I had because I did not play Pokemon.
Didn't they call it Moltres in the show? Was he even in the show? I don't think he was even in the show, was he?
No, he wasn't. Which is why I don't know how to say his fucking name.
Yeah, he was in the introduction. Like, you see him in the introduction to the original animation. But, yeah, it's Articuno, Zapdos, Moltres. Those were the 3 mystical birds that were originally there. And then they had, I think it was, like, Pokemon Gold. I think they introduced a couple more. Yeah,
there's a lot of dragon types.
Fucking Lugia.
Yeah.
My ears heard mall trace, like you were trying to trace a mall. I don't understand.
I don't know.
I don't either. But we know
all my eggs are hatching.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
Because this is the first time I've opened the game today.
You work at a bird farm?
Don't want to answer that because it's too close to reality sometimes.
Oh, the stories.
Birds. Oh yeah. Did I tell you what happened the other day, Jay? Let me make sure they're not in chat right now. Because he does have a... He is not in chat.
Was that what you sent me and I like lost my shit over? Because...
The garage?
Picture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I'm
still...
So I found out a little bit more of that story. So essentially, guys, I work for a couple as a personal assistant. So I do chores, essentially, and go run errands for them. Well, I come in to work Tuesday, because I work Tuesday through Saturdays, and the garage door is open, which is weird on its own. But what's even more strange is that the brick on the left side of the garage is completely collapsed in, as well as the frame of that side of the garage has collapsed in. And one of my bosses rammed the car into the side of the garage and busted a bunch of brick out. The driveway is an L shape with a little turn into the garage. So I am unclear, or was unclear, on how he managed to ram the side of the garage, but he managed to do it. But apparently he had a flat tire and got a donut essentially on it, and he's blaming the running into the side of the garage on the donut. Because that makes sense.
That's not how that works.
No.
That's wrong.
God damn it, Orchid, you said the same thing I just typed.
Also, by the way, Jay, I don't know if they would know how to do that.
That's fair. That's fair. I also realize that too.
Yeah.
Because of other conversations that we've had.
Okay, should we start recording?
Yes, are we going to do 2 separate ones or one solid one? Do you want to do 2 separate ones? I'll make sure to have a clean backup to as well.
Let's do one solid one, like as in.
Well,
or no, actually,
orchids. Yeah, orchids.
Yeah,
audio.
We'll do 2. We'll do one for each. You're welcome. Constipation.
I'm gonna try to not cough in everyone's ear tonight. I inhaled forest fire ash, so I am. Is it
kicking? Is it kicking back up again up there?
Yeah, it looked like Mars again yesterday. Today wasn't as bad because it kind of started raining again. Well, it tried to start raining again, but this afternoon you could see the smoke low, and then it was like blue sky higher because it's just kind of sitting. Because there must be some sort of pressure layer that we can't see. But
does the rain help at all?
It does a little bit because it does kind of clean the air out a bit.
I guess that's true because it takes the ash out.
Yeah, it does. Well, it kind of does and it doesn't, because then the ash just kind of sticks to everything and it just gets just really dirty. Yeah. Everything is so dirty, and like not dirty in the fun way. It's just dirty and like everything is filthy.
Right.
So there's no point in like washing your car.
I guess the question is, would you rather have it stick to things on the ground or be in the air?
Yeah, I'd rather have it stick to things on the ground, definitely. But the gardeners were around because it wasn't sticking to things on the ground, and I was trying to install my anti-chuck door today when I got home from work, so I left work super early.
Anti-chuck door.
My anti-chuck door. Yeah, I was sitting on the floor of my kitchen with the garage door between my legs with like a new cat door because I was trying to assemble it, and you really need 2 people to assemble it. And I had the garage door like partially open so I could get light in but not have like all the wind blowing in the garage. And then the gardeners just kind of came down the street and like blew all of the forest fire ash like into the garage. And then I inhaled all of it. So then I was my eyes they were starting to cry, and like I was just coughing, and so
those days are the worst.
That's when choice words were said, and
oh my god, I was already kind of crying at that point anyway because I was so frustrated that it just like wasn't working, and like this was like easy cat door for babies kind of cat door, and I just couldn't figure it out. So I'm already crying out of fright. It's the kind of crying where you've been in Crucible by yourself, like solo queuing with other teams, and you can't hear them, and you're in like 4,500 like range points comp, and you're by yourself, and people keep quitting, but you don't want to like quit the match because you don't want to lose the points, but you're gonna lose. And the other team just keeps like sniping you and then coming over and bagging your ghost before you respawn. Kind of crying. Like that was the kind of crying that I was doing.
That's a very, very specific example that was provided.
Yeah, but all of you know that kind of frustration crying. Like that's what the kind of like crying I was doing, sitting on the floor of my garage, just like with forest fire ash in my face with
you hear Inya in the background.
Yeah, so Orchid and I have the same evening. Oh, a black flag, I'm so sorry. So yeah, that was my evening. But don't worry, I had coronavirus medicine like still in my cabinet, so my cough is like pretty much gone right now. It's good. Mm-hmm. Everything is fine.
Everything is fine. This is fine. This is fine.
This is fine.
Oh my goodness.
So let's talk about fantasy games. Let's pretend like that's not happening. That's healthy, right? Just don't talk about it.
Let's just talk about this
post-apocalyptic talk about my waifu, Lisa.
Fantasy.
Oh, Lisa? We're going to talk about Lisa? What? I'll talk about Lisa. Let's talk about Lisa. Make Green uncomfortable. Or confused. Or both.
I'm just gonna hang out, relax. I was like, we're gonna talk about my waifu tonight, but
our chat between the 3 of us has just turned into like a Lisa chat.
Mm-hmm. It's acceptable.
Like since Genshin has come out, Genshin waifu has just like made me a Lisa sim. So
I keep trying to figure out because they keep like sending up ads and they're like, we're gonna add these people. I'm like, I don't. Okay, but why? You already have Lisa.
All I need is Lisa.
Like, why do you keep adding people? Like,
I have my librarian. That's all I need. Why are you giving me more?
I have my librarian. That's all I need.
I think
isn't every nerd ever.
I'm trying to remember, but I'm pretty sure there's another one who like calls out the fact that it's like, yeah, she's a librarian. Sure.
She's reading between the sheets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She calls herself a librarian.
She also is fully comfortable with the fact that she is lazy as shit.
Yep.
Damn.
It's like her because it's actually I really like the method that they have to kind of get into the story on the different characters as they have like a sub menu for the voice lines or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And her voice lines are fucking hilarious. they're just great. She's like, why would we go outside? That doesn't make any sense. Who wants to do that?
Who wants to see the sun?
Not me.
Yeah, because you're white.
But I tan nicely if I go outside.
Yeah, you probably would have had to with all the rowing. Jesus. Cole was here this last weekend and she practically glowed standing next to me. Yeah, she's very, very pale.
Oh my gosh. In Oregon, we call that moon tan.
That's accurate.
Yep. The good kind. Jesus Christ, Blue.
What?
Trying to break pens.
That's too easy.
Oh my god.
All right,
you're
so
like if you're trying to break pens.
The perfect vague answer.
No pens.
Head-deskable. Head-deskable.
God damn it. No! No! Fuck! Bro!
Well, Chattable, should we get this podcastable started?
That's egregious. That's on the level of getting Bife to actually do a head desk on stream. One of Justin's crowning achievements. That was one of Justin's like proudest moments was that you could hear the literal thud of Bife's head as he hit the desk.
What? Do you remember what it was he said to get him to do that?
I can't. I don't.
I know it was in his first episode with you guys because he managed to do it within the first like 45 minutes of the show.
I mean, Justin has a knack for that.
An innate ability to get under somebody's skin and then immediately figure out their weakness.
Yeah, but in like a lovable way, like in a way that like
he's not mean about it.
I don't think it was paying. I don't think it was a paying thing. I think it was like because Justin actually did not like paying. That was not Justin's. That was Willie's thing. I'm trying to remember. Jeez, I can't.
Do you know what pan is, Orchid?
No.
You're so precious. So precious. Are you going to ruin her appreciation for this?
Reed's so excited. Oh no.
Faru's in chat. Oh, Orchid, let me tell you.
Oh god.
So.
Oh god.
There's
chat, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
From D1.
Oh no.
That Saint 14 had a bard.
Oh no.
Named Payan.
Oh no.
And this bard followed him around and sang his praises. Because if you pens, I'm breaking pens as we speak, by the way. At the end of the cards, when Saint 14 was in it, it would say Payan to Saint 14. And it was essentially this bard who wrote these letters to Saint 14 was the old theory. But the word paean itself means song, if you look it up. But Willie, every fucking week, for the first, like 20, 30 episodes of Focus Fire
he
Chat,
would come up with the
had his paean theory of the week.
Oh, no.
And it was always fucking ridiculous.
Oh, no.
The worst part was then Bife put it in one of his April Fool's videos.
Yes! God fucking damn it. It's a thing. It's the community knows paean.
Oh, no.
That's where the
Do you remember the song?
The hashtag. Oh, I still have the song, yeah.
Oh,
Justin wrote a song for it. You're paean in my ass.
Mm-hmm. I'm still pissed that Season of Dawn didn't provide any new paean lore.
I think they purposefully have left it out now. Like, I don't know if there's any D2 lore with paeans in it.
Oh my god.
I haven't searched for this word in so long. Oh, there's one! It's a Senna. It's a...
They retconned paean.
They almost did. Almost did. But they did when it comes to Saint 14, because this is literally the only fucking card with it in it.
They retconned paean? What?
What is this?
What is this?
I think it's singular. Helm of Saint 14 still has it.
Oh, shit.
What?
He walked out into the demon light, but at the end he was brighter. Paean to Saint 14. Pen pal, is what Willie used to say.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
And there is a Church of Paean.
Yeah, god fucking
Twitter account.
Church of Paean.
Ran by, we think, Rhino666.
Oh,
no,
my god.
No, it's not Rhino. It's not Rhino. I know who runs it. It's not Rhino.
It's not Rhino.
I promised them.
Rhino.
Promised them that I wouldn't tell who it was, but I do know who it is. Because
going to fucking crucify them because they tortured me for a good long time on Twitter.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I blocked them quicker than anything. Let's see, hang on.
Part of me is like, I dare them. I dare them to come back.
They'll pop up every now and then.
Yeah.
They're not super active.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We should start the things and the stuff.
You don't want to just talk to Chatable the entire time?
God damn it, Orchid. You're lucky you don't have your face cam on.
You did this to yourself. You said, hey, come join the cast. Be with us every week. We love you so much. You think I can't see you glaring at me.
Blow smoke in your face.
All the paean memes I'm sending.
Oh no.
Mystic!
Hello.
Mystic is cool. Where is my... There it is. Alright. Do you guys have Audacity up?
I'm ready.
Blue.
Yep.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, click. At least we have an excuse to start now.
Yeah.
Okay. Get the backup running. All right. Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on October 9th, 2020 over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat. As always, I want to give a big shout out to our live chat here with us tonight. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This week's episodes are going to be focused around exploring the lore book Duress and Egress. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the intro session of the week's exploration. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who all we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86. We don't have Baxter. I know everyone was getting hopeful there with the clap.
Nah, it's just me. I miss him. I thought I'd bring him into the show a little bit with this infamous clap. Although I don't think that was worthy of a Baxter clap. I think because it was too tenor.
That was a very delayed chat clap.
Yeah. No, I miss Baxter. I hope he and the wife he and the partner and the baby are doing really, really well. I don't know if they're actually married.
No, they're not.
And she's back, guys. We didn't run her off.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think I'm fired after this week.
Depends on how many bulls end up in this episode.
I didn't realize you were fireable.
Hi, I'm workable. I'm back. Hello.
Green's about to lose her mind.
This is the kind of stuff I'm trying really hard not to curse. This is the kind of thing that I can normally throw my headset off on, but we're recording, and it's probably going to make the podcast. Just come and join live chat. If you don't understand,
is in chat.
This
is all very pleasing to my ear.
Guru, if I ever meet you, good sir, you might want to
run.
Just.
Oh man,
Green, you did this to yourself.
I know.
You knew what you were doing.
Oh,
Blue, you knew what you were doing.
Oh yeah, I'm completely fine with it. Anyways, so quick couple just special announcements. We do want to hear your feedback on the Lore Network site with the new layout. So, of course, if you will give that a gander, it is www.thelorenetwork.com. And as always, we have been doing the weekly lore roundups, which basically it will capture all the different members of the Lore Network, whether it's podcast or YouTube, kind of collects them all in one spot once a week. And then also just a general reminder to leave us a review over on iTunes if you like what you're hearing, or if you don't like what you're hearing, whatever, just give us some feedback. iTunes is the easiest way to do that. If you're on Podbean, we also get the comments that way too. And then Green changed my special announcements for, I don't know. Do you want me to shout this or do you want me to?
So I know that Blue actually reads the show notes. So part of me is like, okay, I'm going to write it in there in a way that he just can't miss it, because I'm somebody who I will know what I have in show notes, but I'll riff and I'll just make up the phrases as we go along. I don't write my script out. So I have to write things big. So if Blue was going to leave it out, I was going to shout it out. And Blue actually did a guest spot on Guardian Downcast, a podcast that I was on, as well as a few other prominent community members with, oh gosh, what are their names? It's not Gator, because that's...
No,
is that Gator?
Gator's... Yeah, Gator...
yeah.
I can't... Hazel?
Hazel, yep. Gator and Hazel. Two really good guys. Really fun show. Really well-produced show.
It was a lot of fun.
I think it's one of the better organized shows out there for Guardians, and it's more interview-esque. Think DCP, but a little bit more relaxed, even than DCP, I think. Anyway... That was the extra announcement.
I know that you and I got the same score on the speed run.
Yes.
They were like, "Oh, well, you might have beat Green," and I was like, "Hey, look, as long as I, and they're like, "Nope, you guys got the exact same score." I'm like, "That's also acceptable." It
wouldn't be a competition between us, would it?
No. That was just the only, like, they're like, did Green tell you about this? And I was like, no, the Green did not tell me about this. What am I doing? And they're like, oh, good. Jump in.
Green also didn't know he was doing the podcast until it was already recorded. So Green couldn't have warned him about this.
They're like, she just threw you to the wolves. I was like, well, I mean, I don't think that was.
He threw himself to the wolves.
Yeah, that's fair.
If anyone wants to be honest.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But let's.
You want to jump into general like breakout of what we're going to do with this, because this is kind of like your breakout of the episode, right? Like these are the ones that you kind of came up with an idea on.
Yeah, well, Duress and Egress, when I was recording it, Duress and Egress is written in a way that makes sense for the release of it in game, because it's released in groupings of 4 of each of the 4 planetary vendors. You have Asher, Sloane, Anna, Vance, in that order, and 1 card of each. And then you have another set of 4 where it's the same 4. I wanted to do an episode, and actually we're going to do 4 episodes technically, because intro episode, advanced episodes are going to still be around the same kind of content, where we're diving into each planetary vendor themselves. So this episode, we're going to dive into Asher and kind of Io and where he's at and what's going on in the various cards, because if you read them back to back, it does tell a slightly different narrative, because you're not getting a system-wide view. You're just getting their personal view. So it comes across a little differently. So that is what we're going to be doing with it. I thought it would be kind of nice also to read through the cards themselves, because they're not terribly long. And so everybody gets to do a little reading tonight, and we'll talk a little science and kind of break down the words a little bit. I know. I'm so excited about this one. This one was so cool when I looked it up the other day. But, Blue, can I have us do a quick ad break, and then we'll dive into Asher observation?
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Okay, Blue, I'm going to make you read the first one. So hopefully you're not playing the video game right now.
I am.
But you're going to read the first one.
Okay, let me. This is observation. So I'm just going to move this over here real quick. I'm sorry. I have it on. Just move this where it's a little bit easier for me to read while I'm on the mic. Also so that it's not like the blinding light that it is on the screen of white. Because guess what? Ishtar has dark mode.
Yes! So excited.
Asher observation. Man of science though he was, the first thing Asher Mir did was shoot the damn thing. The pyramid hovered out inside Io's atmosphere, close enough to be impacted by a projectile flung at sufficient speed. In the time it took Asher to blink twice, he knew the angle of attack and the mass of the projectile. Asher finished building the mounted railgun before his coffee had cooled. He charged the magnetic coils, waited for the wind to die down, and broadsided the ship. He had expected the projectile to hit a kinetic barrier, or, best case scenario, impact the pyramid and cause utterly infinitesimal damage. Instead, at the moment of impact, the projectile stopped existing. Asher's brow furrowed with an irrepressible smile, while an irrepressible smile crept over his face. His metal arm clicked and hummed gently of its own accord. This pyramid had the audacity to park in front of his laboratory and pull such a cheap trick? Clearly, it had not thought it would meet Asher Mir. He assembled another missile, one with a detectable radiation signature and a radio signal. He fired it at the pyramid. It similarly disappeared on impact, its signals snuffed out, no longer detectable from Io's surface. Another payload followed, this one a miniature relay station. He routed it through his console and fired. At the moment it touched the pyramid, it transmitted a spike of radiation and radio broadcast. Asher smirked. They were still there, held in the field of the pyramid. Visually undetectable, signals squelched, but physically there. How the pyramid was accomplishing this feat was unimportant at the moment, though his mind flooded with fantasies of zero-point energy. The question that gave him pause was the what. What was the ship doing to the projectiles as they sat suspended in space in the periphery of its loathsome shape? And why? It had the audacity to do.
I just love how the physical reaction he has to it surprising him. Because it's just that it's the same reaction I imagine that Blue gets when he's reading a book and they make a choice that's not exactly what he was predicting they would make.
Oh yeah, it is. It's the whole thing, and I think anybody can recognize this. Like anybody can sympathize with this because it's the whole thing of like I'm expecting the whole A, B, C, D, and then something happens, but it's not like. The thing I like about Asher, it's the unknown is not a threat necessarily. It's a challenge for him, and it's a challenge because he has the confidence that it is going to be explainable. So he just needs to find what the missing link is to explain that. I think that's really cool. That's what I really like about Asher's character is like he boils everything down into that scientific method of like, no, it's explainable. We just have to figure out it's like a good version of Toland, basically.
Yeah. You know what's like the most amazing aspect of Asher being able to figure out exactly like the angle of attack and the velocity and everything to figure out why and where in the atmosphere he's going to be able to hit this at? The reason why that is so stinking cool is a real life science thing that I found on Io. Io has volcanic activity all the way up by Jupiter. Active volcanoes that will spew out plumes of gas at 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. When Io is on the sun side of Jupiter, it has an atmosphere because of all the gases being warm enough to create one. But when Io goes on the opposite side and is on the dark side of Jupiter, those gases condense and freeze, so it has no atmosphere. So it's actually a bungeeing atmosphere where it's flexible. It moves in and out depending on the temperature of the planet, which makes that shot even more impossible and Asher even more impressive.
Yeah, because
Science.com.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I bet he loves that.
Because it calls out that he waited until the wind died down, right?
I think so. I think that's what you just read.
I just read it and I'm already forgetting about it. Yeah, waited for the wind to die down and broadsided the ship. That's interesting.
But he had to know. Oh, well, I mean, I'm sure he's had plenty of time to make diagnostic tests on the atmosphere. But
well, and kind of talking about that kind of jumps into like the concept of what a railgun is, like so it mentions the electric circuits that he built. He built this railgun almost, it sounds like, from scratch. He built it before his coffee had cooled. So I love that like little nod to this is how quick he does things. And I know you have here like how railguns work. It's basically a large electric circuit that you have like a power source, a pair of parallel, like literally rails, and then a moving armature that like launches things. Did you want to talk about that a little bit more, or was that just?
I mean, that was just basically like what a railgun is for anybody who's never really been curious about it. Because I mean, railguns have existed in Halo and a lot of other video games have had them, but they are real life things. Mm-hmm. There are tests out there where they are shooting these. It's not necessarily plasma, is it? Like they're.
Oh, no, you can make them. I've made a railgun before.
I mean, geez,
they
made them. They
made
them back in World War. What was it? World War I. That was the rail car.
I want to hear you talk about this. You made a railgun?
I've made a railgun. Yeah, it's super easy. So you just need a battery, like a car battery, and you need like 2 metal rails that conduct the battery's electricity, and then you need something to fire through the rails. And you need to make sure the thing that you're firing can be rushed through the rails. So, something sharp.
The rail is literally the...
You magnetize the rail with the battery, and then it shoots it through the rail.
And you can punch through really...
You can shoot
bad damage.
Very far with it.
We punched through a car with
bullet
one.
trains.
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
in miniature form.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, it is because, and that was one of the earlier versions of the rail gun was the railway gun. They actually put...
Ball bearings are really good, yeah.
Oh, ball bearings are terrifying.
We used nails.
Why?
Jeez.
Why?
Okay, you were already scaring the fact that you knew how to make a railgun / have made one in the past, but now the fact that you're using shrapnel in it.
Yeah. That's... I love her. Yeah.
I really wish you had face cam so they could see this, because...
But the railway gun was like one of the very first ones that they built, and it was an actual train car. Because what it was a gun that was literally such a large piece of artillery that they had to have it for the recoil. And it would when they fired it, it would send the car back, I think, like 2 or 3 miles. It was ridiculous.
So chat says, yeah, what's the big deal? We use nails. Yeah. What's the big deal? I use nails.
Said the crazy lady.
What's the big deal? I use nails. It's fine.
I don't know what would be worse, nails or ball bearings. They're both not good.
Ball bearings will get faster. Like, you'll get more speed out of a ball bearing.
Will punch a hole, too.
You get enough speed. A nail will punch a hole, too. Like, I mean, they're both going to punch a hole in it. Like,
can we talk about 0-point energy and how you would stop nail coming at face?
Yeah, let's do that.
So 0-point energy is also an actual thing. This is where Asher's talking about the projectile stopped existing. It's still there within the outside little field, but the 0-point energy is vibrational energy that molecules retain even at the absolute zero of temperature. So it's that everything that is slow-mo down to nothing. Or stasis. I don't know how to follow that up without just saying, hey guys, we're getting our powers from the pyramid.
Because it's literally in stasis.
Hey, Orchid, would you like to read Asher prediction?
I would love to. Let's do that.
Yeah,
observation. I just have to get to it. Where is it?
I highlighted your name in your color.
Oh, did you? Oh,
and there's a link there too.
Oh my God, is there? Jesus Christ, that's amazing.
I'm organized. It's okay.
Prediction. Asher cursed his way across Io. As he picked his way across the rocky outcrops, he cursed the loose soil underfoot, cursed his oversized pack, cursed the roving taken, cursed the kick of a silicon Neuroma rifle against his shoulder. He looked up at the pyramid funneling its foul energies down the cradle and sneered. Well read as he was, he didn't have the energy to arrange the required words. It was late during what passed for night on Io, and while Asher was tired, he hiked on diligently. He stopped only once, briefly, to study a snail whose shell was growing tiny clusters of crystalline black obelisks. He crept down through the cavernous spaces beneath the cradle. Unfamiliar roots protruded from the earthen walls. He calmly observed the pattern of a twitching shrieker, and his calculated ricochet sent a band of taken roaring down the wrong pathway. He passed unmolested. Egress was in her meager camp near the twisted roots of the enormous tree. She knelt near a beam of light coming from far above, which filtered through the pith of the tree to strike an unnatural splash of cambium petals. Asher noticed the smell of sap and burned cooking oil. She said she was pleased to see him, though when she sought to clarify the cadence of his supply drops, he felt she might be put off by the unexpected visit. As he unpacked what he had brought her, she explained the tree, the messages, the whispers, the thrilling struggle to glimpse the face of the unknown, even if that unknown may be trying to kill you. She was smiling as she spoke. Asher understood exactly what she meant. He rested by the fire. Nearby was a small table that held samples of hive chitin, clippings from the tree, ashy soil, and an open notebook that Asher saw was a personal journal, which he quickly flipped shut with distaste. He reached again into its pack. He brought forth a bottle of fine golden spirits, from whence some towering ignoramus misunderstood his request for isopropyl alcohol, and placed it on the table. He had brought 2 clean glasses nestled ridiculously in the boxy shipping case of a large graduated cylinder. He removed one and placed it gently next to the bottle. Asher coughed, relaced his boots, then stood and shouldered his pack. "You have things taken care of, yes?" he said to Egress. "Certainly," she said, intent on the beam of swirling light. He shifted and made a little noise in his throat. "I need to know that things will be taken care of," he said clearly. Egress looked over and considered the man standing across from her. "To the best of my ability," she finally said. Asher nodded and began his long walk back.
Anybody else get the vibes that Asher is Sheldon Cooper and Eris is Amy Farrah Fowler from The Big Bang Theory with the way that they interact?
Totally.
Gosh. So this is also the most tragic almost date ever. Asher looking at the spirits.
I'm more of a Eris Zavala shipper.
Yeah, but Asher you don't quite understand why he's offering the spirits and the fact that he has multiple glasses with him. I don't know. They've been pen pals for a while. We know that.
I just assumed it was because they're like kind of quote unquote just, working together on the same moon.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just trying to be nice to each other.
They're also pretty much like cousins.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does call out that Asher's weapon is silicone aroma, which makes sense because the silicone aroma entry is all about the moment when Asher loses his arm.
And the
which is pretty gruesome.
It's also
and his
Nightfall
fire
weapon.
team too.
Yeah.
That's also a really, really good sniper rifle.
It's not bad. Isn't that the one?
What got me Revoker?
I was more of a pumpkin spice girl during that and used Beloved.
Oh, well, let's see who the basic B is now. It's you.
I'm trying to think, is there anything else really going on in this one?
What are your thoughts about what he's asking about? Like when he goes back, when he repeatedly asks if it's going to be taken care of, do you have any thoughts like what he's requesting?
I think it's actually left open for interpretation quite a ways that the writers could take it a lot of different directions eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Because in a lot of ways it could be seen that Asher has told Eris what Asher's plan is to go into the Pyramidion, which is what we'll see in the next card. And that any of Asher's last wishes would be taken care of.
That's what chat's talking about too. Because the thing is remember with Asher's terrified that he won't be able to be resurrected. because of his affliction. He has not died since his ghost was changed.
Right. He's also afraid of what he'll become
Correct.
if he stays alive too long, too, because it's continually changing, and he knows that.
So I mean, yeah, and we know that because he's mentioned it to Ikora. So in my thought process is if he's mentioned it to Ikora, I'm almost certain that he's probably told Eris, because he and Eris are closer than he and Ikora. Not to mention the three of them we know are kind of pen pals between the three of them, because we kind of had the letter that was going around between the three of them last episode.
Yes, Eris is definitely the more attentive within that pen pal relationship, because Eris calls out the fact that Ikora, not that you would leave the tower type thing, and Astra's busy with his own work.
By the way. I love that. Like, you didn't come. I'll overlook that this time.
We do get a little bit more of a picture of the tree's root system. The fact that Asher is moving closer and closer to the cradle, and the tree's roots are actually making it out, spreading out pretty far from the tree, I would imagine, with the way it's described, because it happens fairly early in the card. Unfamiliar roots protruded from earthen walls.
And you have the second one you have here that there's a natural splash of cambium petals. And like the tree searcher in me like went, ugh!
Why?
That's not how trees work.
Okay, so
the cambium, it's the main growth tissue of this. It's of the stems and roots, so it's kind of the outsidey bits. Of especially in like things like kind of oak trees and pine trees. In like more vascular plants, and it makes more. It kind of produces, like, you know, there's xylem and phloem in trees, so it produces the xylem like towards the which goes towards the pith. Does that make sense? I don't know. If you don't, I'm trying to describe trees when I don't have pictures to show people of trees.
Right.
But trees don't really do petals. So, except this tree does, but it's made of feathers. So,
yeah. It's not. I mean, tree isn't a word that we're using to describe something that is very not a tree.
It's not. I mean, it is
in a lot of ways.
Kind of a tree. I mean, it is a tree.
It makes me think of the trees from
Structure.
Xenophobia, the book.
Yes.
I mean, you're not missing much, Green. It's by a terrible person who just happens to be a decent writer.
Is it the Orson Scott Card?
Yeah, it's Orson Scott Card. But he's a trash person. But anyways, in Xenophobia, like he one of the cultures that they run into from aliens is when they die, they actually plant a tree inside their body, and they just basically let the body sit there. And then they basically transcend into a pretty much sentient tree. Like it's a really cool thing. But that's what, like, every time we talk about this time, like, it's a tree, but it's not a tree. That's the image that keeps popping in my head.
How funny. You know, there's a company that makes seed pods from your urn ashes if you're cremated. It's kind of creepy.
That's not the only thing though. There's another one. There's a couple companies that do that. Like you have like it's gosh, I'll have to look them up. Because when I was studying thanatology, that was one of the things that they were starting to like really get, like, it was really starting to kind of take off there.
I guess, I mean, it kind of makes sense in the fact that you want your body to be used as nutrients for the next living thing that, or like to contribute to.
Yeah, there's other concerns that have to be taken into account with it, especially in today's world. But yeah, there's
Interesting. Is there anything else from prediction we want to talk about?
I like the fact that he notices the smell of sap and burned cooking oil.
The fact that
Egress what has been that?
Trying to make fried rice. Everybody wants to know if she actually liked the pineapple.
It's actually, I think this is because she talked about in
lit
in
her
that
wok on
book
fire.
because she had just seasoned her wok.
Yeah.
When he visited her because it was mentioned in that book. So she had just seasoned it. So that's why he could smell the burned cooking oil.
She wasn't quite there yet.
I just love the
she didn't have the pineapple.
My wok is on fire. Throwaway line in that.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh.
There's also go for it, sorry.
I was just going to say, that's the number one question I've gotten on Twitter right now is, does Eris actually like pineapple? Because the writers never finished that story.
They never finished it. Nope. The small notebook that he closes, I have a very strong hunch that that's singular exegete.
Yeah, probably.
Or notes that formed into singular exegete.
Of course
because the chitin because singular exegete is scrawled on chitin, on rocks, and the corded guts of a hive, because Eris is all about zero waste. I still don't understand how that all goes together into a single book, but
it's the bookmark, Jay. It's the bookmark.
Oh, okay. That's anyways.
I'm actually thinking she's got this like kitty book. You know how the kid books, the toddler books that are thick and have like little padding. That she's got a version of that.
Now all I have is the Despicable Me of like, this is terrible. You like this? The little kids.
Yes. But yeah, it's
that's
I can see it
now.
Singular exigent.
That's headcanon. Eris likes pop-up books.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh, now that's interesting. I did not even think about that. Dancing in chat says, I wonder if it's the Vex in him that was disgusted and didn't want to touch anything hive related. Like it's the Vex regularity. I mean that's another way to read that, actually.
It is. I don't know if I would attribute that necessarily to the Vex, because would the Vex be controlling his mental capacity at this point? I mean, the only thing that I know of that they have been affecting him in the Arecibo quest, because he never picks up on the frequencies.
Yeah, there are signs that there are afflictions of some kind.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. Perhaps.
Because that's what Veru say, because he's not sure Asher would be disgusted to closely observe alien stuff. If anything, but then the counterpoint is, and Rose is saying this now, or he didn't want to accidentally see someone's personal emotions. Like, ew, emotions. No, that's not, no.
Yeah, he's very disgusted by anything not science.
Or you would say that he is a hyper clean guy who may have a thing about touching gross things. Like there's
emotions.
Like emotions. Ew, there are Hello Kitty stickers on it.
All the Hello Kitties have 3 eyeballs.
I know, that's what I was gonna say. It just reminds me of Orchid's little emoji character, the chibi that Orchid has with the
in here,
splitter
in
cells.
Skype. Oh gosh, the what is it, Sam something?
Sam
from
Fisher.
Splinter Cell.
Yeah, Sam Fisher. The pink Jade Rabbit stickers. Yeah, there it is.
That one, yeah.
We need a hive Hello Kitty now.
All right. Last card. You ready? Asher conclusion. As Asher Mir watched his assistant's ship tear into orbit for the last time, It occurred to him that he had not expressed how truly satisfactory he had found some of their work. He briefly entertained the thought of leaving a letter, but there were others more deserving of his thoughts, and if he worked in descending priority, he might never make it to his assistant, which would defeat the purpose of the exercise completely. Instead, he went to the Pyramidion. The Vex are not born, yet not created. Desire to understand this conundrum brought Asher to Io. He reasoned that the pyramid, with its alien resources and unknowable power, had likely come for the same purpose. The dark ship sought to take the secrets of the Vex for itself. But Asher Mir had already staked his claim, and he was prepared to defend it. He soon stood at the gate of the Pyramidion. The Vex security responded as he knew they would, and he was prepared. He piled their broken corpses on the plates and continued inside. He destroyed the first 100 Vex, then the second. A Minotaur roared into being before him, and he crushed its Radiolarian core in his metal fist. He climbed forward over their clawing limbs. He slipped in the cooling rue of their dead fluid. Asher swallowed a mouthful of blood and kept moving. He paused by a whirling gate and watched the apriotic waves, then stepped through at the only possible moment. He walked steadily through laser grids that seemed to bend around him. He hung calmly in a gravitational tourbillon as the ground beneath him flickered and shifted madly. And the Vex began to observe. The corridors of the Pyramidion were lined with glowing red eyes. The metal mannequin stood dumbly, twitching, shuddering as Asher passed. A familiar area unfolded before him, a cubist sinkhole reeking with the flat base stench of stale mud and bleach, or slate mud and bleach. He looked where the sky should be and found another impossible shape, another fractal contradiction. Far above him, placid in its Penrose vortex, the vast Radiolarian lake lapped gently at the metallic shores. The man reached up to the lake with his metal arm. He then reached with his arm of flesh. He reached with both and brought the lake down. I love these so much. I love this card. It's my favorite. Oh my gosh, blue. Okay. I love the imagery of Asher basically going through and fighting through his entire fear, kind of confronting it. A little bit Green Mile-esque style. Like the imagery here is very similar. Even to the point where he's reaching up to bring it down. It just reminds you of that moment where he finally gets out and the rain is falling down on the guy in the Green Mile. Anyway, what do you guys think about this card?
Do you want to take an ad break before we dive into the analysis? Or do you want to...
Yeah, we can do that.
Just to take a break.
Blue, why don't you take the lead on this one?
Okay, so so like the big thing for me is like what you were saying with like the culmination of Asher. Like this is when Asher, and I think that's the reason why I really like Duress and Egress, is because it takes each of these characters that we've kind of gotten used to just kind of being there in the background, and we've forgotten that they are in their own way very powerful characters. Like, you know, Sloane's thing, which we'll be talking about next, is also another one of these like, oh wow, like she, you know, her thing, and then Anna's, and then Vance out of nowhere, his transformation into something that is actually respectable. As I loved it. Asher's is no other, you know, it's the same way, like the conversational way that he just walks through the Pyramidion. Like he's just taking a stroll, basically. Like, I mean, it's not that, because he's struggling.
I'm seeing like Matrix style,
right?
Like,
but
he
I mean,
knows how this is gonna go,
right? But
it's
that's the
very
thing,
like
is like
John Wick almost too.
Yeah,
It's like a choreographed dance. The way he gets through it, like he knows, or it's someone who's run it 100 times. He knows where all the enemies are. He knows every single movement that he needs to do, because it's like he's in tune with it in a certain way
studied it
that
for so long that he knows the probability.
He breathes it
Mm-hmm.
in a way that I don't think anyone else understands or can even comprehend.
Quick correction: it's the Shawshank Redemption, not the Green Mile. That imagery that I was
the last scene
when
where he's
when he's breaking out of it. Something I noticed within the card, especially during this reading, was the fact that the Vex are, yes, reacting as far as like the security system of the Vex. But the Vex then stop reacting so much as just like intruder and start observing, because Asher's doing such a crazy job of killing all of them off by himself. Normal Strike has approximately 200 enemies in it, maximum. He kills 200 pretty early on. Mm-hmm. So he's going through and dealing with a lot more than we do when we're going through a strike. Yeah. And the Vex take note. They watch him.
They observe, yeah. Like,
they're just throwing everything at him that they have.
I just like the fact also that he finally finds his lake, and then he brings it down. Like, literally and figuratively, he brings the lake down.
Well, here's a question. Has anybody looked up in that final room? Have we, I don't think I've ever looked up in that Brachion room, besides before you go into the Brachion room.
The one where the hole. Do you think it's a metaphor?
Yeah.
It's not a metaphor.
It talks about the hole here, but he also talks about the lake as if they're both there, which we always had that idea of it's a shifting.
I don't think there's anything above it that I can remember. I mean, I've honestly, at this point, I've run it so many times, I don't even look. Except for I just have the path that I do.
I mean, when I run stuff, I look around whenever I play on PC because it's so pretty, but it's just a star field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was about to say, from what I remember, there's not really anything above it.
No, it's a really pretty star field. It looks like a star field because it's tiny moving pieces,
right?
And little blinky lights.
Do you remember the commercial that they put out for that season that had the Vex birth?
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
With the lake itself, that's the lake I think he's talking about, and with that imagery in there matches up with the look of the strike, the Brachion strike, because if you kind of step to the side before you jump through portals, you can see down further into the Pyramidion. It's this open grid that you can see continually down. And I always got the impression through the ad itself that it is very similar in construction. That is just beyond where we're at with Brachion.
Yeah, I mean, I know with the whole thing of the Penrose vortex, I'm assuming that's in reference to the Penrose interpretation, because that's talking about the relationship between quantum mechanics and general relativity. And that's kind of Asher's, he loves science stuff like that. But basically it's talking about how a quantum state will remain it remains in what's referred to as superposition until the difference attains a significant level between the two. But the thing is with that, that's that space-time curvature, with him interacting with it, it'd be interesting if he is the thing that is the catalyst that brings it down. Like, he's literally the catalyst that connects it and brings that difference into a significant level. I'm not 100% familiar with like that aspect of stuff, so I don't know if that's even possible, or if that makes sense within that concept. But like, you know, it's talking about like gravitational levels and quantum gravity and stuff like that, where if you have a lake that's literally like the sense that it's always like the sense that I get from this scene is like, oh God, it was a movie. It was a long time ago. For me, it was a long time ago. It's a movie about two characters who the worlds are upside down to each other, and like you are gravitationally aligned with the world. That it was a really weird like romance movie. But like if you're from planet A, your gravitational
time.
Huh?
It's got to be Lifetime.
No, actually, it was a really good one, actually. But like the gravity, like you're aligned gravitationally to the planet that you're born on, and so like these two people basically meet from different planets, and like they basically try to like cross over, and when you're on the other planet, you're basically being still drawn to the planet that you're from. So you're actually like your gravity is opposite to what it should be on the planet. That's kind of what I'm getting like the sense of is like I think Xbox just came out with a new ad with like Labyrinth, where it's the guy walks up and he's on top of this tower and he looks up and there's a girl standing on him that's on top of a spiral tower, and she's like same type of concept. That's what I'm getting is like it's a point of perspective that he is on the ceiling when in regards to the lake, but the lake is actually on the ceiling in regards to him. And so when he actually when he connects with the lake, it forces his gravitational input onto it, and that's what he's literally forcing his reality onto that thing, and it's redirecting the gravity to it, and it's pulling it into, you know, it's pulling it down literally because he is acting upon it. Is kind of how I got that's what it's making sense in my. I'm gonna have to look up this movie because it's bugging me now.
It is not a metaphor.
Oh my God, so it's still.
It fits.
Upside Down. That's what it was. 2012.
Not to be confused with Inside Out.
No, which was also a great movie.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on this, Scott? On these cards, like the combination of them together, because we're seeing Asher get to the end of his, not necessarily story. Like theoretically, he could die from the lake coming down on him and being in the Pyramidion. He could be consumed and become the next boss when it comes to the Vex.
What?
Because
Kaber?
the lake. What's that?
What? Kaber? What?
Kabir? Yeah.
Or whatever. Kaber, Kabir, however you want to call it.
Kabir,
the drinker of milk stout.
He just wanted to make some cereal.
No, he wanted his milk stout. Nitro. Left hand. Come on.
There are way better milk stouts than Left Hand.
But are there?
I live next to Left Hand. Yes. There are plenty of their nitros.
There's a couple of good ones.
Breckenridge makes a really good one.
Yep.
Hold My Kabir.
Buffalo Sweat is a good one too.
It.
Hold My Kabir.
I love it.
What do you think about his story? Like this arc, though, where he goes from shooting at the pyramid ships to basically possibly saying goodbye to Egress and getting his affairs in order, to finally confronting the pyramid itself and putting him into a position that if he can't be resurrected, he might not come back out.
Yeah, I mean, go for it.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's very him. It's a very heroic arc, is what it is. It very much sets up the beginning of the story and gets to the peak of, oh my gosh, I'm pulling this thing down on my face, and like not to make it sound weird, but I mean,
I like the fact that he's basically like, well, if I can't understand the Vex, neither can you, because I'm gonna he's basically denying the pyramids the secrets, because he says the dark ship sought to take the secrets of the Vex itself, and then he goes, but Asher Mir had already staked his claim and he was prepared to defend. I mean, it basically gets the sense of like, well, if I don't get it, no one gets it, because I'm gonna bring this whole house down.
Right, but do you think he's actually... It's not like he would have done any damage to it, do you think?
But he's like, changing it. Yeah, I think that's what he's trying to he's trying... I get the sense that he's trying to disrupt the balance within it to a point that either the Vex have to get involved, like more so, or they retreat and like deny. He's basically trying to deny or to hinder the progress of the ship's understanding the Vex. Like he's trying to change stuff.
Yeah, Orchid, go for it.
Do you think he's just trying to, like, since the Vex is really the milk and not the robots, do you think he's just trying to add himself to the Vex enough to disrupt the Vex that are inside of it? So he's making himself, he's milking himself into the milk of the Vex.
Oh,
yeah, that's what Black Flag kind of mentioned that in chat.
He's like, becoming milk.
He's becoming a Vex mind.
He's not becoming he's just becoming milk. He's holding his Kabir. He's becoming the Kabir.
He's becoming
the beer of the
Soylent
Kabir.
Green?
Yeah. Soylent Green is Asher Mir. Soylent Vex is
Soylent Vex.
Asher Mir.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Soylent Vex is Asher.
He becomes a drinkable.
Yeah, okay, so...
And on that note, good night!
Oh, gosh. Okay, so real quick,
bye,
one more before we get to that point. The Vex, denying the pyramid access to the Vex, do you think the pyramid has been trying to communicate with the Vex, but the Vex haven't let it? We kind of know that the Vex are not included on that list due to the last interference mission, because they were not one of the races represented at the end of the mission.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
and I don't
maybe
think they've never been represented, right?
No, there's never been any conclusive evidence that the darkness was or was not talking to them.
Right, but I mean, because that was the second time we've been in that room, isn't it?
The one that had all the statues?
Mm-hmm. Then weren't we in? Haven't we been in that room?
That was the first time I thought.
That's new imagery.
Yeah, I'm
pretty sure that's new imagery.
Maybe I'm thinking of someone who broke into it. Because I know I've seen it. I've seen that room before.
I bet somebody data mined it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think I've seen it until then.
Yay, internet giving me stuff. Because yeah, I remember like that was one of the big things with it was the Vex are not part of any of the statues. You have humans.
Black Flag is mentioning though that the Soul Divisive has worshipped the darkness. It's the Soul Divisive worshipped the Black Heart. But was the Black Heart the darkness though?
Mm-hmm. That's the
question.
Yeah, okay, Dino, thank you. Yeah. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. The guy, he got banned for it, yeah.
Interesting. Awesome. We should wrap up, though. Do you have any shout-outs, Orchid?
No.
Blue? I don't know how to follow up. Blue?
Yeah, just again, just a general call out for giving us some feedback on thelorenetwork.com, letting us know if there's anything that we can make that site a little bit more user accessible, more user friendly. And then also just a reminder to leave us some reviews over on iTunes, whether for us or for the Destiny Lore audio file series.
Cool. And my shout out goes to actually Orchid and Elamist from Guardians of Lore for working with Blue and I behind the scenes for some special things coming up soon.
That's me.
Yeah. My shout out goes to you and E.
What?
Yeah.
Guys,
If you guys haven't checked out their podcast, Guardians of Lore, where they do the book club. Well,
we're doing what we're doing right now, but over there.
But over there. Yeah.
With no notes.
Also,
that's homework. We're the book club that doesn't do their homework beforehand.
But you have some great conversations about it still.
We talked about hive stuff and how pineapples are bushes.
This is true.
That's about what we did last week.
That's important.
Yep. Pineapples are bushes, guys. They're not trees.
Coming from the
tree person.
The tree person.
All right, Blue.
Well, as always, I want to thank you for your time. And until next time, remember, with wisdom we conquer, stand strong, stand tall, and keep exploring. All right.
Stop audio. Yeah. Stop at that. Export
WAV.
WAV.
What do I call that? What episode are we even doing?
219.
Oh my god, I'm a professional. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, chat. I left you a giftable on the Twitchers.
Giftable?
Yeah, I left you a giftable.
Oh,
Since you said you wanted to
get
see my face when I talked about the nails, so.
Would you say?
Volume up, please.
Oh God.
It's 8 seconds long.
Oh my God. That look. That fucking look. Orchid, you are evil. You are evil. Those eyes though. Yeah, that just I can't even do that look. I don't physically have the ability to do that look unless it's like overly exaggerated. So cute but terrifying. Yes, accurate. Fucking Christ, Orchid. I am kind of glad that you and I never met in college because you would have scared the shit out of me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
In the best possible way. Okay, I have to tell you a story about college since we're on this and we're in the middle of things. Before I have to let the cats in since they're now dogs. Since I let them out earlier, now they're like, let us in. I'm like, bah! Anti-check door is just like making me have to do work now. So when I was in college, I was in a sorority because of course I was. And one night after we put entire bottles of wine into Nalgene bottles and we'd run around town with an entire Nalgene full of an entire bottle of wine. So I had my Franzia Nalgene bottle, my liter of Franzia, pink wine. And I had a curly Q straw that I was drinking Franzia out of this wine, and I drank it in like 45 minutes. And I had only eaten cheese for dinner because that totally speaks to me as a person. And I decided at that moment, we had found my favorite log that I could watch the trains go by on because I live in a rural area.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a train that goes like through campus. And I had this train log that I dubbed my train log because I like to sit there and like watch the train go by. I was always very excited about it. So that night I told myself I was going to get on a train. And
No.
so 3 other girls were with me. We were like blackout trash. Cheese is definitely a meal. We had a couple guys with us from a frat that was down the street, and because they were supposed to be supervising us, but they were just egging us on. And we're going through this train yard, and I find this engine that's just sitting there and it's idling. So I climb up onto the engine after like thrusting my water bottle, which is now pretty much empty, at somebody, and I climb on top of the engine and essentially straddle the top of it. And I scream, "Look at me! I'm a train engineer now! This is my train! This is what I'm going to do! This is my train!" And so I'm just sitting there screaming about how this is my train and it's going to go choo-choo. And it's just like, for 20 minutes, this is just what I did. That was college Orchid. Kind of in a nutshell. It was aggressive train shouting. You're welcome. Yep.
I have some college stories, but none of them, none of them reach that level. I didn't really drink much in college. I was not a party goer as much. I did go karaoke a lot. Mm-hmm. But my stories aren't stream friendly, so we're not going to go there.
Mine just involved that train was really like my best story. All the other ones were pretty much like me going to and from rowing a lot.
Jay, you came back to Orchid telling stories about her college days because of the Twitter post. I said that I would be thoroughly intimidated by her back in college. If that was like, if I knew her then, if those are the kind of eyes that I would have not been able to handle this.
Mm-mm.
Now I have to go see what we're talking about.
Yep.
Yes, you do.
You do. Oh, I need to go let the cat's number back.
Okay.
Don't let Chuck in.
Tell us about College Green. Black Flag, you could clip it. College Green is not coming out on stream because College Green was. I was a nice person, but I was also not a nice person. Everyone's got stories. Also, Blue doesn't need any fodder. He's got plenty on me. Maybe sometime I'll tell it, but not tonight.
Y'all ain't recording right now.
It just reminds me of like Justin talking about his women hunting.
His stories. Have you heard his story about? Have you heard his stories about getting in a fight and using his body as a weapon? Because he's so skinny.
No,
so anytime somebody would punch him, his body would actually hurt them because he's so skinny.
Yeah,
there's no fat on it. He's like, it's the best defense ever. I don't have to do anything.
It's like punching nails.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Oh my goodness. Black Flag. I'll tell you sometime. I'll tell you guys sometime, just not on stream. Because, lordy.
The internet is forever.
Yeah. Green has some messed up shit. Fox. Nope. Twitter. I want you to trend things that are not depressing.
What?
Oh yeah, so I figured out Twitter.
Yeah.
My Twitter
is
the haunting of Bly Manor. It's trending on my Twitter, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I just have a VPN to a random country, and then I don't see any shit that I wanted, like, that I don't want to see from the US on Twitter. It's just like, yeah. So it's either like I either VPN into New Zealand, which is like, oh no, like potatoes went bad or something.
Yeah.
Or these sheep seem angry.
Yeah, mine VPNs via, I think it's California. It bounces between California and somewhere in Europe. And so I have the same thing. Like my trending is like I don't even pay attention to it anymore because it does the same thing. It's like I don't care.
Yeah.
But yes, Bly Manor apparently
I
is on.
It's either New Zealand or it's Sweden are the two I VPN into. So I get some real random stuff on Twitter.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cute. She fell in love with Molly.
Huh?
Cole.
Oh no!
Yeah. Oh no! So no one tell her.
So she bought me. I have it actually right here.
Here, Toki. Oh, Toki, you can't say hi to chat.
Oh, nice.
There's no cam, but I can turn on. I'm sorry.
Is that the graphic novel?
It's the art book.
Oh, the art book. Okay.
Oh my goodness, kitty cat! But it has. So she did. Let me see if I can find the picture of Molly that she was like, "Oh my," and she was like, "I like him." I'm like, "Fuck." He only lasts 26 episodes. But he's also coming back. Possibly. Anyway, she bought me this. She had never seen the show or anything. And I basically, after she handed it to me, and I was like, oh my god, I kind of went geek and started just ignoring her and reading the book instead.
Current season, right? The current campaign? Okay.
Campaign 2.
Right.
Toki, you can't touch the mic, Toki, when you purr into it. You can't actually hold on to it.
Toki wants to be on the podcast.
Toki does what he always wants to be on mic. That's his favorite. Toki, say hi, everybody.
Are you feeding Toki churro?
No, Toki is just saying hello. He's trying to eat my hand.
He's just a happy kitty. He purrs stinking loud.
He loves to purr and be held and say hi.
I just saw Wicked's tweet about the furry caterpillars.
Oh no.
What did he tweet?
First it was murder hornets, now poisonous furry caterpillars. They failed to take us with fear. Now they hope to kill us with cuteness.
No.
Oh my goodness. Okay, you ready for Sloane's turn?
Mm-hmm.
I know this book is not the most compelling.
She's got nice thighs.
Oh shit! Yes! That's why you're getting 2. They did another tweak. I didn't realize they did another tweak today for the ciphers. So now you're getting 2 drops. They're doing 2 drops per activity completion.
Good.
They said, note, ciphers do not drop from the following: enemy kills, gambit, forges, and non-playlist strikes.
Gotcha.
So where they not drop from?
Enemy kills, gambit, forges, and non-playlist strikes.
Why don't they drop from gambit?
I don't know. I use patrols. Patrols has been the quickest turnaround for me personally.
Okay.
Public events
I load
so
into the
well.
moon and I
Crucible
just
matches.
Crucibles. I've heard mixed things on Crucible.
Crucible, they don't drop from every Crucible match.
Correct. But that's the same with any Crucible drop.
Yeah. But that's the thing is like when they did this, they said any activity, and so a lot of people were like patrols because you can do patrols like very quickly. And like on the moon, what I've started doing is I think it was Tassie that pointed this out, but on the moon you can do like the kill all and the Toland patrols. You can knock all of them out in the zones, and it takes like it'll take you really it takes you like 10-15 minutes to do a rotation. And I've already gotten 12 caches done. And so now that they're doubling it, I'm assuming that's probably it's going to go a little bit quicker now too. Yeah, I have no idea why not Gambit. It's just, that's what the Bungie help thing says. Enemy kills makes sense. I mean, why not? Well, Forge is probably to keep people from farming them, I assume. Is farming Forges still a thing?
No, because you don't get anything if you drop your light level anymore. You can just get kicked out if you don't complete the first half.
Okay.
You get kicked out after the end of it too. It doesn't restart you in the Forge. You
got to manually restart it.
Oh, okay. So it's like, what is that? That's the same as competitive or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like comp. Yeah, or like Gambit Prime. I think Gambit Prime will jump you back in, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, the 750 Nightfall. Ooh.
Yeah. So Nightfall's ordeals are also really.
Oh yeah, double drops this week. Mm-hmm.
Ordeals have the double drops, and also you have a higher chance for like higher quality gear. So yeah.
I just want those sweet, sweet golf balls, Speaks. Get me some golf balls this week.
Golf balls? Oh, the Ascendant shards?
Yeah, Speaks is my good friend who is the way of the taking me through Grandmaster Nightfalls. Yeah.
Who are you two talking about?
Paul Tassie.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, he's met. Yeah. Stupid Paul Tassie.
He gets paid for it.
Yeah,
I can't fault him. Like,
nope.
People want to pay him for it. More power to him.
Yep.
The last one that he put up, I was kind of, I muted him after it though. It was the final one. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Because it was just blatantly, he's like, even in the subtitle, he was like, I'm just joking. I'm like, okay, like you're just being clickbaity to get clicks at this point. Like obviously you're even saying it in the title.
Well, when he's got really not a whole lot to report
I mean, like, I get it. It's just, I'm like,
because, Forbes, the super serious business finance magazine, who wants to really know about that Destiny information.
That's all SEO analytics is what that is.
So confusing.
Oh yeah, no, video games, like that's why all the major outlets have entertainment and video games on their sites, is because it's clicks. More people they can get on their site. Get some
more ad revenue they can
get some higher ad revenue. It's totally that's all it is.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's the same reason Goldman Sachs does a lot of stuff with. I mean, Goldman Sachs has a video game department that looks at esports as from a business standpoint, and that, I mean, like they're also really transparent that is one of the reasons they exist, is because of the interest. Like they're like, there's a profit to be made. Like why wouldn't you do it?
True. They're like kids in their video games.
Oh no, like actually I've listened to a couple of their podcasts from their video game, like their
Are they
esports
good?
specialists. Oh yeah, they have some really interesting perspectives, like because they approach it with the mindset of like investment bankers, because
Oh,
that's what they
that's
are.
what they are. Hmm.
And they're like, no, if you look at the ROI for this like particular, blah blah blah, and they actually have like they have all these analytics that break down the various components within the esports realms, and they're like, this is where we're seeing the profit. This is, these are the games that, I mean, that's why you have so many financial companies being involved with these quarterly ending calls with all these or developers. It's because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Oh.
There was an interesting article recently, actually.
Yeah, Neo's saying that too. Gaming makes more money than movies. I mean, just
Hmm.
let that sink
Digital.
in.
Yeah.
It's
Hmm?
gaming is more profitable than the movie industry now.
Hmm.
By a long ways. By a long, long ways. But Overwatch League actually had a major dip in revenue uh, partway through this last season. Like, by the time we got to the playoffs, no one cared anymore. And everyone stopped watching. So they've actually had a major drop off and they can't figure out why. But games
What
like
did?
COD,
Oh, COD did.
Overwatch League,
Oh,
because they went digital.
Overwatch had a dick. Oh, yeah, okay. Why did they have a dip? Like that's their esports division had a dip.
Overwatch League, which is the esports division of Overwatch, right?
Right, right.
So they had like 16, 17 weeks of just normal gameplay every weekend. And then they had the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And for the playoffs, basically there was no drama because everything for
Oh,
up to Overwatch League, they would have restrictions on heroes and have very interesting meta changes, huge meta shifts where the teams would have to really work at it more than they normally do. Anyway, they by the time they get the playoffs, they stopped doing that, and I think everybody just was just like, "Oh, we know this person's gonna win. We don't even need to watch it anymore."
oh, it was
And
just
so,
like they knew the outcome before it even. Yeah. I mean, that's one
or at
thing
least,
that you say what you want about like league and stuff like that, but that is one thing that they know how to do. Like they know how to hype that stuff up, and it's I like
watch.
when you look at the monetary sides of those things, it's just ridiculous how profitable those companies are. And
So
I
they
mean,
did. Just to give you an idea of like the revenue of even what the players make, they did a All Stars tournament, essentially a 1v1 tournament this last weekend. The number one Widow player, the one who ended up winning, got 100 grand for just that weekend.
right, but was that 100 grand net, or was that well, was that the pot was so it was 100 grand? So because like you have to take out some like I mean,
So it was 100 grand. Second place was under that. That was just what was listed on the deal. I don't know if that's actually the check he received or if they took taxes or
well,
whatever
because you
out
have
of it.
like because you have travel and taxes and all that nonsense. But still, I mean, still it's I mean, yeah, it's even if you expect walking away with 45% of that, it's still.
Is that Zoe Veru? Because I like Zoe.
Yeah, I think he says one of the casters for Overwatch League, Soe.
It's
Is that
Zoe.
Soe?
She's super neat. She does a lot of crafty things. She is on the main desk table. Like she's one of the primary hosts on the main desk. She's not necessarily a shoutcaster. She's analytics.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
Hmm. She does do some shoutcasting, but it's mostly analytics and giving shit to the guys because she's the only girl on the table most of the time.
As you should. As you should.
You
All
ready for
right.
round two?
Yeah, let's go ahead if you want to count down for us. Orchid, you good?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. 3, 2, 1, click.
Cool.
Yep, it is Sloan time. It is time for us to talk about the lady who I would want to be my wife.
Yes.
I thought
Marley.
you were going to say something else because it rhymed and then you didn't. That was like, we are recording. Green.
Yes.
We are recording. All right.
That is what editing is for.
Welcome to Focus Fire Chat, recorded live on October 9th, 2020, over on twitch.tv/FocusFireChat as we continue our discussion over the lore book, Duress and Egress. This particular episode will serve as what we have come to call the advanced session of the week's exploration. Congratulations to those who've signed up for a deeper dive. Before we go any further, however, let's run through a quick introduction of who all we have with us on the show. As always, this is your host, Blue Crew 86.
And this is I compare our topic this evening to my wife very often, and she's okay with it.
Green-eyed music lover.
That's my name. You're fine. They know who I am at this point. They know I never actually say my name.
And we also have Organ with us. I think. Okay, she's still there.
Organ.
The
I haven't been fired yet.
The lady with the eyes over there.
The lady with the scary eyes.
The audio listeners are so confused.
Evil eyes. Yeah. Well, I'm sure the live stream's confused too if they didn't actually see that or like hear that part of the conversation, because Orca doesn't have cam on for the live stream either.
Nope.
But she did post something to Twitter.
Guys, if you are listening to this in the far-flung past, go look at Twitter. Future. Well, I don't... Guys, what is
Unless
time?
You're the merchant and the alchemist.
What is time? How is time? Okay.
What does time taste like?
It's strawberries.
No,
Yeah.
sure not.
The middle of the galaxy smells like strawberries, so I don't know why it wouldn't taste like strawberries.
Green's face is so full of doubts right now.
But it has the same...
A taste of the sea.
A taste of the sea. Okay, Vero, I'm going to go with a taste of the sea in disappointment. Go back to the 9th of October around, like, what would you say, like 9:15? 9:30 at night?
Yeah, Pacific.
Yeah, Pacific. Look at Hey It's Orchid on Twitter, and I left a gift.
I left a gift.
A giftable.
Oh, man.
Raven says, let me get my TARDIS. Yeah.
So real quick, just a couple quick announcements. Just a reminder, we want to hear your thoughts on the Lore Network website, just the same as the last episode. Lore Network site, let us know how we can make it a little bit easier for you. If there's anything that we don't have that you would like there for like resources or anything like that. And then also just a reminder, if you like what you hear, leave us a rating and a review over on iTunes. Not just us, but also the Destiny Lore audio file, which is Green's project that basically translates all of what we're going to be actually talking about tonight into basically an audiobook format. Green, do you guys have Duress and Egress? I know you're working on Mara Sinner right now, right?
Duress and Egress actually comes out in a couple of weeks. So by the time this comes out, it'll probably be out around the same time.
Okay, cool.
Because it comes out before the end of October.
Awesome. All right, so that is my two big announcements that I kind of have made myself a note to say every single time. So the intro session we spent talking about Asher's character. This session is going to be a crushing session over the character of Sloan.
A crushing session?
A crushing session.
I crush on her so hard.
I believe Chad has said, I'm sure Sloan has a line of suitors courting her, every class, race, and gender.
I mean, I've been with people in my fire team who specifically try to jump down behind her just to like get a look.
She's got the best butt in the entire game, guys.
Her
I'm
glutes
not
are legendary.
She's just sexy.
Built, guys.
Yeah.
Like I have a thing for
looks
thighs
like that,
and
guys.
like the thighs, man.
That's pretty
just
awesome.
like
This went left. It went very right, though.
Oh, man.
We are definitely in the second part of this podcast.
It is late, which means it's slightly FFC after dark.
It is dark outside.
Mm-hmm.
Go us.
So that all being said, do you want to just dive into it?
Yeah, Blue. Read. Sloan, Overseer.
So Sloan, Overseer. This is the first entry. So I guess real quick, same kind of concept. We're going to look at just Sloan's story because it's a little bit easier to track through this particular book if you stay with the same character through the 3 entries. Each character, there are 4 basically mini stories within the book. The 2 that we are discussing this week are Asher and Sloan, and then next week will be Anna and Vance. So just kind of a guide of like what you're going to be kind of getting. This episode will be Sloan's story. So that all being said, this is the first entry. So it's Sloan, Overseer. Deputy Commander Sloan watched the overloaded Vanguard skiff dip close to the waves. "Watch it," she barked into the communicator. The craft straightened out. "That's liquid methane down there, and if it don't kill you, the Leviathan will." "Come on, ain't no Leviathan," said the pilot, his voice crackling. He was some boy from the city who couldn't have been more than 17 years old. "And if that's methane, how come you don't even have a helmet on?" Sloan grinned. She wasn't used to backtalk. "Because I moisturize, short-timer," Sloan said, and squelched the calms. A falling ketch screamed overhead, and Sloan was on the catwalk outside the rig in a flash. She bellowed at the men working on the deck to cover gear of the cargo as she drew her scout rifle and dropped to a knee. Their first few dregs were dead before they hit the ground, but the winds whipping off the seas sent her next shot wild. She figured the landing party would go for the cargo shuttle over her men, so she spun to take a sightline toward the craft, but the things were charging for the supplies instead. She cursed and leapt over the railing, landing like a crash of lightning. Her earpiece sprang to life. "Sirens watch. This is supply craft Vienna Stinger looking for a place to put down." "Landing pad 5, south side," she shouted over the crack of her rifle. "Offload what you brought, and I'll have a supply team swing by in a minute." She plugged 2 more dregs, and the ketch's engines changed from a roar to a whine. A half-hearted volley of wire rifle fire splattered the landing pad from the ketch as it blasted away. Sloan called out to her team. No fatalities, nothing taken but 2 crates of fresh supplies. She ordered the team to the next landing pad and began climbing the long stairs back to her perch. They hadn't hit while they were loading the Golden Age technology for shipment back to the city. They were after the supplies. They were leaving. She looked up at the pyramid in the sky and frowned. The door to her office closed and sealed with a hiss. A soft blue light on the panel promised that the seal was airtight. Sloan walked across the room to watch the seas through the open hole blown in the side of her rig.
So, 2 things in this card. Sloan knows about the Leviathan, which I find cute. Sloan doesn't take any sort of lip from short-timers.
"I moisturize."
Yeah. Why Sloan can stand being on a liquid methane-based moon and not have really dry skin.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a great skincare.
I just love the fact, speaking of that, I love the fact that the door to her office is like, yeah, the seal's airtight. She walks across the room and there's a giant hole in the side of the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because the seal, got to make sure that's airtight.
Yeah. She wants that ocean's front breeze, guys. She paid a lot of money for that.
she does have a very good sense of humor. It's a very dry sense of humor, and I think a lot of you can call her a leader in and I guess in the Guardians, because she is, I guess the leader of Titan, so to speak, the commander of Titan, and she leads with humor, I guess, her very dry sense of humor.
I mean,
a lot of Guardians have kind of lost that over time.
Or they just get gallows humor.
Yeah, they do.
Sloane definitely has... She has her limits with humor, though.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll kind of see that once we get the next one that you're getting ready to read here pretty soon. Because she's not taking any lip from Amanda coming up.
I love it. There is one thing I do want to kind of call out here, because I just had a voice line on Titan when I was running some patrols. She made a comment about how every time she sends a crew out, she always loses at least one person. And so that kind of put more weight here for me, at least, when I was reading, when she reached out and was like, basically she called out to her team, and no fatalities. So that kind of puts more weight on that particular thing, because again, that dialogue line, she made a comment about how every time she sends a crew out onto the rig or into the rig, she loses someone. So I thought that kind of stood out to me. Rereading that after that dialogue I had, I found that interesting.
That's interesting. I never caught that voice line. I know that the other thing that I found interesting.
Yeah, I literally have never either. And then I was just like, it was one of those things I was playing, and it was something that was in the back of my headset, and I was like, what? Hang on. And then I was reading this right now, and it was like, okay, that puts that in a different, like a little bit of a different light.
She does call out the fact that the Fallen are not stealing. They're stealing supplies to leave. They're not stealing the Golden Age tech, which is what they were on Titan initially to do, because Titan was rich with it. But now they're just trying to get the supplies so they can survive. Anything else from this one, Jay, before we go to a quick ad break?
Chat and I are talking about her rage quitting over the thieves. And
I love that.
I know. It's like one of my favorite adventures. And it's like, even Zavala's like, let's give her some space. Like, she's like, let's not talk about that right now.
Asher says inconceivable or impossible.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever it is.
Inconceivable.
Asher feels comfortable saying these things because he knows I am not on IO.
Because he's on IO and I'm not.
I am not.
Gotta love Ikora.
Okay, so yeah, another thing, Neo is mentioning that Sloane was in command of our past forces on the Dreadnought.
Yes.
So I don't know if it was the Dreadnought that she was in control of, but she was in control of post the Rise of Iron, cleaning out of the Fallen. Sloane was a big part of that endeavor, as was Marcus Wren, actually. She was one of the ones that was helping command the forces that were circling around and cleaning up that mess.
I like how Sloane still is working on things, and Marcus Wren can be seen racing up and down the side of the wall by the tower.
By the civilians. I mean, are we surprised?
As long as Dee Dee doesn't write another musical.
Another play. Priorities, according to chat.
Oh, jeez.
Let's do an ad break before we get too far. Do I have to do every one of the ad breaks? And we're back.
I mean, you don't, but you just do it so well.
You do. You were doing a dance and everything.
Yeah, it's amazing. Why would
I was doing
why
a dance
would I
too,
take?
You just couldn't see it.
I've been told by multiple people that I should delegate more, and so when I find something that someone's really skilled at,
yep. What's the matter, Green? Your finger looks a little twitchy right there. I think there's a cream for that.
So Wavebreaker.
Oh, yours is a flippable.
No, it's a flippable.
God. I'm going to read this card now, guys.
Now that we've gotten... Anyways.
Wavebreaker. Deputy Commander Sloan was in a foul mood, and Amanda Holliday, bless her heart, had no idea. Titan's waves crashed relentlessly against the massive support struts of Siren's Watch. Were things different, a crew would be down there right now, swinging between the mammoth legs, working to repair and stabilize. But things weren't different. You can throw together a box girder and reinforce it, no problem, Amanda said. You can. I can't, said Sloan. While she had built a few walls, Amanda had an enviable engineering background to fall back on, though it seemed she wasn't much of a teacher. Amanda's hologram slurped a ramen. How long do you need it to last for? Long enough to get it out of my mind, said Sloan. Since it started wobbling, I haven't even had time to worry about the pyramid. Small favors, chirped Amanda. Sloan ran a hand through her coarse hair. Come on, Amanda groaned. You're sitting on a mess of Golden Age technology on Titan. There's got to be an engram with a bridge inside it. Sloan stared flatly. That might actually be true, but Sloan didn't have time to hunt for lost technologies. Make a wave breaker then. Tetrapods bolted against the strut, or better yet, something out in the sea to break the wave early. If you can't take it when it hits, you go out and hit it before it gets started, like this. Amanda leaned forward and did something in a ramen bowl that Sloan obviously couldn't see. You're not looking, Amanda said, and tilted her bowl forward, just enough to spill broth all over her desk. She cried out with laughter. I'm hanging up now, said Sloan. After a cheery wave at Amanda's melodramatic pout, she did. The hologram faded out, leaving Sloan in the dark. She stayed there for a long time.
So what I'm hearing is that I'm Sloan and you're Amanda. Because there's just that lovable, like, there's the happy-go-lucky Amanda, and then Sloan is, like, she's being stern and, like, wanting to get stuff done. I'm just... But she's still enjoying Amanda's company. Yeah.
Just like this.
Just like this.
I could see Amanda like sitting cross-legged on the floor,
Yeah, that's
anime style, with chopsticks and.
I was totally picturing her like sitting on her desk, like holding a phone in one hand with like a bowl like perched on her knee, just kind of like shoveling like noodles in her like hand, going, "Oh yeah, like this," like flaunt, like noodles go everywhere. Bowl on the floor, like, oh, oops.
Yeah.
Just find a bridge and an engram. That's where we keep them. Engram bridges.
You know,
it's
that's
fine.
actually...
We get so many blues, put them together into a bridge.
No kidding. That actually is something kind of interesting here, that she calls out that there must be an engram with a bridge in it somewhere.
I thought that was like, I missed that the first time I read this card.
Yeah.
Because that boggles the mind. I mean, I know, like, in the back of my head that you can put anything into an engram, technically, because it's just data. But, yeah.
The other thing with that is that a bridge would be such a simple item that it wouldn't need to be decrypted by a cryptarch or anything like that, that Argos can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
What else? It does call out that Sloan has built walls, like any good Titan.
Yes.
Was it Sloan? Okay, so that's what I was going to say, too. Was that talking about Sloan having built the walls, or was it saying that Amanda's built walls?
Sloane has built walls because Sloane.
Okay, while she had built a few. Okay.
She was just comparing herself to Amanda
right.
having inviolable engineering background to fall upon or fall back on, because Amanda was building things at the age of 6 out on the road.
Yeah, I want a bridge
prodigy.
to be at our loot pool.
Yeah.
Just throw a tetrapod at it, right?
Well, she wasn't doing anything that intense. She was making Christmas lights on the road.
We all know that the Titans become like the things that hold the walls up at the bottom, because that's what their bodies just pile up and pile up and pile up.
Yes!
Call back to the last Destiny quarterly lore review in February.
I have with that, though, is that their body dematerialized because the ghost.
Do they, though?
I just like all the do they?
That also went into another conversation we had on the quarterly lore review. Do the bodies dematerialize? Also, yeah, to a point of clarification there, the Titans that are being buried under the walls don't have ghosts.
Yeah.
So then you just have, the Venice problem. Settling. The walls settling.
Yeah, I'm not giving you that look. I'm giving Orchid's message in chat that look. Because I don't even know how to respond to that.
I can't help but see, like, I know you guys were talking about, like, Amanda, like your mental picture. Like, all I can see is Edward from Cowboy Bebop. Like, that is who I can now see Amanda as. Eating her rocket noodles.
I take your word for it.
Oh my gosh, there's so many things I have to show you.
I know. That's why we're going to do this new podcast that Blue and I have actually just started recording called Resist This. Listen to it sometime soon, because it's going to replace one of these podcasts when we run out of content to actually put out there, because...
Or when we decide to take a holiday.
This is true.
Holidays.
So,
yes,
look for Resist This.
Rose is saying, Mexico City is also similar foundational construction.
Yeah, it's sinking.
It goes.
Guys, don't use bodies.
Or I mean, if you do, just find an easy way to be able to supplement it with additional material.
How about we just not build in places that are like
lakes,
sinking, lakes, swamps, things like that.
Yeah. I'll let you tell the Venetians that was a bad idea. What orchid? Anyways, let's talk about the tetrapods.
Yeah. Tetrapod, an object or a structure with 4 feet, legs, or supports. So, an AT-AT?
Mm-hmm.
I was totally thinking that.
Mm-hmm.
Or those creepy, like, robot doggos.
Yeah, those guys too. The problem that Sloane is having is that one of them is weakened because of the waves getting so much worse, I guess, right now. Because the waves are getting worse because of the pyramid being there, or it's just the weather being so crazy?
I think I kind of took it that the pyramid was affecting the gravitational things and kind of just making stuff
just messy right now.
Also, I don't know necessarily if it's something that is getting worse or it's just wear and tear.
It could be.
Because, I mean if you look at that structure, it's kind of not in the best condition.
And we've seen structures on Titan take some pretty big hits. The fact that she needs to build a wave breaker is, I mean, that's a very easy concept. You see wave breakers all the time out anywhere near the ocean because you don't want the land to deteriorate. We even have them here in Colorado, just on a smaller scale. Man, Black Flag's about to get banned from chat for making
trying to get
me to say it at.
No,
it's
it's AT. God,
you mean at?
It's the most painful video to watch. So when we're talking about the at, I'm like, that's not.
Did you see Blue's like nod of approval and the fact that I called it an AT initially? Like he actually.
Yeah, I'm like, yes.
I did. He did this little like, continue.
Mm-hmm. You are acceptable. Your nerd card is not revoked today.
Yes.
So the only other thing I wanted to talk about, we did kind of mention jokingly about the fact that there's an engram possibly on Titan with a bridge in it. The fact that there's so much Golden Age technology on Titan itself that they've been harvesting as not just Guardians, but also the Fallen. We're going to see one of the things that was found as far as Golden Age stuff in Rheastrad, which let's do that one and we can start to give final thoughts on Sloane's exit. Dum. After she watched the Guardian ship roar off Titan for the last time, Deputy Sloane went into her office and put on the Golden Age technology she had claimed from the Hive. The heavy power source hung from her shoulders like a bandolier. She draped it across her neck and stepped into the suit, vast and clumsy. As she bowed her head into the gray hood, a view screen appeared before her. She did not understand the language, not yet, but chose the green option. With a hiss, the suit conformed to her shape. It was heavy, but she had full range of movement. She focused on her arm, concentrated, and the material scabbed into a thick armored plates. Well, that was something. She tried to form arc energy, but the suit blocked her light. Or perhaps she would have to learn how to flex her light through the suit. She selected another option with her eyes and selected again to confirm. There was no pain as she felt the suit snake a cold tube through her side and coil somewhere near her stomach. That answered a few of her questions. Sloane lurched outside. There was a storm, like Titan was trying to drive off the invader that sat lazily in its sky. She walked into the gale, and the rain beaded on her second skin. Each step was easier than the last as the suit adjusted to her gait. A symbol flashed, and a hive thrall charged her. She gripped it by its neck and arm before tearing it apart. It was so easy. She laughed then, and the suit interpreted it as a battle cry and amplified it, broadcasting it. The sound echoed off the discarded shipping containers on the rainy landing pads, echoed through Siren's watch, and up toward the pyramid. Lightning flashed in the sky, and the storm raged on.
Green's just happy that Sloane chose the green option.
I mean, that's what you do when you see terms and service, right? You just go to the green option.
Exactly.
Orchids. Yes.
Yep. That's what I would do.
Okay. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm. This suit kind of made me really interesting. I brought this up with Blue the other day because my brain, of course, is always...
She immediately regretted bringing this up because of one of the things I pointed out.
The is it a coloscopy bag?
Colostomy bag. Ew.
Yeah. But yeah, that was where I a little bit of throw up in my mouth.
You put the note as a comment in our show notes, and you just put colostomy bag ew. That's what she wrote. She just wrote ew.
I just remember that conversation. She's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "You mean like a colostomy bag?" No. The response was just she's like, "Why?"
Fun fact, though, I have a cousin who had a very, very serious heart problem, like that she was born with, and she had a feeding tube that went into her stomach. So that's another reason for that, though. Blue, I do think that
because I've had family, well, not family, but really close friends or family who had a similar thing, but then they also had a colostomy bag. Like it was, and they're able to walk around and everything. I mean, medical technology is beyond fascinating, guys. Like especially in today's world, like it's just the stuff that we can get, that we can make our bodies survive with, is just fascinating. But yeah, it's like, okay, so for those who don't know what a colostomy bag is, in really PG terms, it's basically something that allows you to excrete processed foods if your body is not able to, for a host of reasons. Sometimes it's surgery, sometimes it's injuries. There's a lot of legit reasons why you need one. But in this case, what happens is there's a part when in what Green just read, where there's a tube that snakes into Sloane's side. So it actually pierces her side, and then it coils up somewhere near her stomach. So and when I was reading that, I was like, oh, that makes sense, because if these are like exosuits, like not an exosuit like what we were thinking of in Destiny, but like an exosuit that like dock workers and all these people who are moving heavy things have, they're going to be in harsh environments. The best way I could think of, the best example would be something like, I don't know if any of you have seen Titan AE. It's an old animated movie, but they all have exosuits when they're working on the outside of ships. And that's kind of the thing, is like they are going to be in these suits for extended periods of time. And, humans have needs to process foods. So this would make sense if this would bypass that and give them more time within that suit.
Something I find interesting is that written language is different now. This is a soft confirmation that Sloane does not understand the symbols and the language used in this suit in the heads-up display that is on there.
Well, there's a potential reason for that too, because she acquired this suit from the Hive.
Right, but the Hive did not create the suit. The suit, from my understanding, is more of what you said, the dock worker type suit, right?
That's
like
true, because
it was used to help with freight, which meant it was a golden age tech.
Yep. Yeah, it calls that out. It does call that out. I'm sorry. Yes, that's true.
It's just that she had gotten the engram itself from the Hive, or the technology from the Hive, which means that this information or this technology, the language that was used in it specifically, is not the same language that Sloane, and very likely, since Sloane reads the same stuff that we do, we're probably, in at least compared to Titan's language, we do not speak the same, or do not read the same, at least.
Yeah, and Neo's saying, they've forgotten German. In the city, there's a call.
I kind of agree with Black Flag. When I read through this the first time, my brain immediately went to
Mjolnir.
Like Mjolnir armor, Spartan armor.
I mean,
I don't think that's necessarily what it is, because we don't have any military thing on Titan. It's the peaceful thing.
That's my counter argument to that being, like, I understand, like, and then your counterpoint to that was like, why did the suit interpret as a battle cry then? Like, and because the suit, like, if it interprets it as a battle cry, it would need the programming to understand what a battle cry was, which would imply that the suit has battle programming in it. But then I still go back to, but we know that the Pacific Arcology was a group of pacifists because of the whole Last Days of Kraken Mare. Like, when the Exos landed with Rasputin, they were the ones that brought weapons with them. Now, that being said, this suit could have been part of that detachment, which that's interesting, because if that's, man, that has a few other things.
Yeah. I don't know if there's much else on here. Did you Are there any comments on Sloane's transition out?
Dantine is also saying he sees a similarity between this and Mara's suit on the Yangla Way. The only thing that I have to challenge that is Mara's suit was able to be retracted completely, and this seems to be a more armored version of that. Now that also, this is a little bit harsher environment. It's a more aggressive environment than the vacuum of space. Like the vacuum of space is nothing, whereas Titan actually has something that will injure you if you're exposed to it. So that might be part of the reason why the technology is a little bit different there.
I mean, the technology is similar though, so I would say that it could have been made by the same people. We don't know.
Right. I mean, the Pacific Arcology has ties to Clovis Bray, as does everything in this universe, it seems like. I wouldn't be surprised if Clovis Bray had a hand in a lot of the materials that are being used.
Yeah, they had their fingers in a lot of pots.
Well, and that's Dancing is saying his point is that we don't know which colony Mara's family is from, and both New Pacific and Yang Lewei wanted to achieve life independent from the Traveler. And independent from Clovis Bray. So that's a fair connection there, actually. I can see that connection being there.
Interesting. I don't think there's anything else I have on this one, really.
I don't really either.
Oh, I got one.
Do you?
Sorry. The suit blocking her light. I found that actually kind of interesting, that the suit had a light blocking capability, even if it was from the inside out. Why would that need to be a thing?
Shielding? Maybe not blocking, but shielding, or maybe shielding from the darkness so it doesn't see her coming.
But the Golden Age, I don't know, blue?
I didn't read it as much as... So, like, I didn't read it that way. I read it as, it's like if you're... so, like, I do some stuff with, like, blacksmithing and, like, metalwork. And if you have, like, whenever we get new gloves, you know, you have to break in your gloves because your gloves will be really stiff. So, like, I kind of took it as she's so used to being in fights without armor, like, well, not without armor, but without this level of armor. And so she's used to exuding her light just that particular way. So now that she has a different set of armor on, she just has to, because she even calls that out. She says perhaps she would have to learn how to flex her light differently, basically.
Right. Which is a possibility, but it never is said whether or not she can. Just at the moment of Sloane trying this for the first time, I guess she can't actually push her light through yet.
Right.
She's
and I guess
doing actual physical things, like she grabs the thrall by the neck and destroys it that way instead of punching it like you would normally and having the electrical shock come out of her hand.
Right. I guess my mind, the way I read it was like, it's like if I went to pick up something with my bare hand, and then I went and I put on a welding glove and I tried to pick up something, you know, my hand is not going to be as dexterous as it is without the glove. And so it's not that you can't do it. You just have to figure out like that muscle memory. Your muscle memory is only, you know, what it's used to. And so this is something that she's never done. And that's where I was reading it.
Sure. I understand what you're saying. It's just, we don't have proof of it either direction right now, whether or not it is actual muffling of the light or if it's just she needs to practice.
Well, and then, and Black Flag also mentioned the plasteel armor that she's wearing is actually already kind of like attuned to light as well. So like it could be also a matter of the armor is just not attuned necessarily. It could be something as simple as, hey, this armor is made by guardians, and so they kind of like unconsciously even infuse the light into it that makes it more easy to channel, Whereas this was made by people before light even was a thing, or before light from the Guardians were a thing. And so there's like that, just like, it's kind of that whole, this isn't really, it's like a cold thing instead of something that's already been warmed up and ready. Oh, okay, yeah, and so that's where the other dancing's saying this could also be a narrativization of power levels, because you have to practice to use the light through our armor in general. So like as you grow in power, you become more familiar with your armor. Because I think the only other time that we see something blocking light is with the hints that we got from Drifter, right? From the Beyond the Edge, with the containment pods or whatever. Because those were the banks, right? That he designed into banks.
He got the inspiration for the banks from it.
And they were containing creatures, well, as far as we know and kind of can guess, they were creatures of darkness, correct?
I don't think it's actually ever called out as creatures of darkness, but creatures unlike anything he's ever seen.
And were those, I remember, and this is just because I didn't read this before, but were those creatures able to neutralize light? Wasn't that part of the problem with them?
I think so, but it's been a while since I've read that card too, Jay.
Because that's the only time that I can think of. I'm just trying to think if that would be a technology that would. Also depends on where that was, but yeah, okay. So yeah.
Do we have any final thoughts on this? On this lady? Besides, she has the most incredible posterior of all the Titans.
I'm a big fan of the thighs.
Me too.
Right?
They're totally on point.
She must use a band when she works out.
Shapely.
Mm-hmm.
Super shapely.
Activates those glutes.
Best way to do it.
Gotta activate those glutes.
Blue.
No, I think that you guys have nailed it. I think that, I think in this sense, it's another case of us seeing a character that has become normalized in our eyes as kind of being a reminder of, hey, no, these are very powerful guardians in and of themselves, or very powerful figures in and of themselves.
I think the thing with Sloane's story in particular is she would never had the stigma against her necessarily. She was always a strong character, so there's not as big of a transformation to see from a writer's perspective.
I would agree with that. And Sloane has also had, I think, a lot more exposure, I think, to the community, because Sloane has been around in the lore, at least, since like well into D1. Like, we've had Sloane ever since, like, what was it? Was it right before Rise of Iron that we got Sloane introduced to us? I mean, it was only on lore though, and lore cards. But I mean, but she was input as like the like, not the second in command, but like pretty high up there in command of the Titans. So she's always been kind of, I think, kind of what you were saying. She's always been one of those powerful figures. She was in Age of Triumph. I don't know if she was called out before that. Okay, because she's a 6. Same time that Asher got introduced. Mm-hmm. And Asher's introduction was him being unconscious. Mm-hmm. I think. Do we have any shout outs to do, or final call outs? Really just the standard, let us know about the lorenetwork.com, the website, let us know if there's anything we can do to make it a better resource to you guys, and then also be sure to give us a rating and review, either on Podbean or wherever you listen to us. If you have the time, please, like, iTunes is definitely the best for most podcasts. That's where a lot of stuff gets pulled from. And that's not just for us. That's for really any of the podcasts within the Lore Network, but also especially Destiny Lore Audiophile, which is Green's project that she does, where she takes all the stuff that we basically talked about tonight and she makes it into an audiobook, which is, it's super, super helpful for those who don't have time to go and dig up the actual text.
Also, just be good to each other. Right now we are in a interesting and hyper stressful season. For those of you listeners who are in the US, please be nice and kind to each other. You don't have to agree on everything. Just you have to get along enough to not go to jail. So please don't go to jail.
Let's not do jail, guys. Yep. No jail.
Kind to each other.
That's be kind of no jail. That's the low bar that we're setting this week.
Yep.
Don't go to jail.
Yep.
With that being said, I want to thank you for your time, and until next time, remember, don't go to jail. With wisdom we conquer. Stand strong, stand tall, and keep exploring. All right, so there's a story behind that, Green. What just happened? Like, what?
Oh, just I'm tired of politics, and so it's like
that's fair.
I just don't want, like, with everybody getting so hyper aggressive with anything politics related. It's just like, be nice to each other.
Don't try to kidnap the governor of your state. It's a terrible idea.
Oh, God.
People keep burning my state down. It's either the forest fire or Portland is completely, like, burned to the ground. So I'm just done. Done with everything. That's why I use the VPN to New Zealand, and it makes my everything way better.
My state's still on fire too. It's just not nearly as bad.
New Zealand, you're so calming.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, Green, are there wildfires in Colorado, or is that just the smoke from all the nonsense that Orchid's dealing with?
There is some of that. We do still get some of the stuff from the Pacific Northwest, but we have our own wildfires. There were 4 wildfires that were fairly contained around the same time that Orchid's area started catching on fire too. No, it's not your fault. The recent one, which was amusing as all get out,
I feel the north.
Life. Mine isn't burning down houses. It's just making the air smelly. But the one that caused the fire north of me that's still burning, that's actually in the national park. Like, it's burning
God,
up
if
Rocky
it's a
Mountain
fucking
National
gender
Park.
reveal issue, I'm going to lose my shit.
It was it was basically a barbecue. Yeah.
Why?
It's just people doing stupid. People being
Guys,
stupid.
Stop being stupid.
I was talking to, like, Kashin, and then
blame
like,
Morgan.
Like, we have a couple friends who they just found out. I mean, like, I'm like, what goes through people's minds where they're like, hey, you know what? We found out the gender. Let's blow shit up. Like, what? Why are we not doing a cake? Like, how did we go from cake to explosions?
So Cameron Peak fire is believed likely human caused due to a lack of lightning strikes in the area. They don't have an actual location of what happened, but they're pretty sure it's just some dumbasses. And
it's so funny because we're talking with, like, Minions doing scouting again this year, and their big thing right now. Yeah, no, Black Flag, that's dumb shit ass reason right there. But their big thing right now is, like, the outdoor code, right? And, you know, all this stuff. And it's like, it's so funny watching these, like, 7 and 8 year olds be told, hey, you need to be careful around fire, you know. And they're like, be careful, right? And all of them, as general rule, have the same response of, yeah, no shit. Like, it's like, I'm like, you are reassuring me of my faith in humanity's common sense, like, which is terrible because they're 7. Like, I'm like, You get it. Why don't you get it?
Yeah. It's just so stupid. Okay, so wildfires have burned more than 500 square miles in Colorado. So it's not the size. It's not nearly the size of what's going on
Or it's
out
not nearly as
west.
bad as, what was it, New Mexico's dumbass.
No. This is it's getting some trees within a few valleys, and it's trees that needed to be burned, which is why you don't see it on the news. That this is actually a good thing for the forest up here. It's not a bad thing because a lot of these forests need to be cold a little bit.
Ours did too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Rocky
that's
Mountains.
why all of the foresters like me are not that mad about it. I mean, I'm mad about it because like homes are being destroyed, but
that's
like
what I was about to say. It's more the collateral
forester in
damage.
me is like not mad about it.
Yeah, National Park has needed it for a while. And it looks like it's going to go up in flames any minute. Anyway,
I was about to say, it's one of those things where after a while it gets to a point of critical mass. Like, it's like, all right, so something's going to happen. And
well, yeah, and
you joke about the
bark
mummies.
beetle is a big thing over here too. I don't know. Do you deal with that up there, Orchid?
Deal with what?
Bark beetle?
No.
So what I know about it is that it is a Japanese bark beetle, I think is what it's actually called, and it will kill the trees. It infects them and basically eats the layers in between the bark and the tree itself, which obviously is still part of the tree, but it kills them off.
Green, I'm gonna say, God fucking damn it, Josh.
Oh no, what did he do? Among Us? Yes. Yes. Tell him thank you. Blue is going to play Among Us, guys. It's official.
The messages that I get from him just like crack me up.
Sus. Boop. Buckle up.
Oh, did you see the drama about that?
The word sus?
Yeah, about sus. Like, this is how bad I am with the thing. I guess apparently it's a derogatory term in the LGBT community. Someone went off about it, and everyone's like, so I was like,
I remember Brandon talk about it on Twitter, but I didn't think too much of it.
I was like,
I never heard it.
I mean, that doesn't say I have neither heard of it, but that also doesn't mean much because I'm like, I don't engage in discourse with people outside of a smaller group of people.
This is true.
That's by design.
Unless it's about, if it's not Genshin waifu, I don't think you're really talking about it.
Yeah, that's true. Lisa's the best.
That's all we've been talking about lately is Lisa, so.
Yeah. Oh, so Neo, actually, in regards to that concept, I don't know if you guys, I've gotten on a kick of YouTube with a guy called CGC. I think is what his name is. His channel. Anyways, it's an excellent channel, but he actually has a thing about the difference between American Indian and Native Americans, and that's actually one of the things he talks about is how, like, the use of a term differentiates and changes within historical context and what it can actually mean, and how that can be perceived by, like, not just the side of the majority, but the side of the person who is being talked about and who has had the term applied to them. It's a really interesting video. He also has a hilarious video about the American pox, which is fun. See if I can find that link real quick. You got the black lung?
Yeah.
I got the black lung, Pop.
I have the tree lung.
Another really cool channel that I've stumbled on YouTube is Dust. Have you seen that one, Green?
I have not.
It's basically a series of sci-fi shorts like sci-fi short films that they present each year, and then the best one gets awarded. And it's like the guy who did District 9 level production. Like, there's some really, really cool stuff.
Interesting.
On the internet, the algorithms are...
Okay. I love Critters, but I also dislike how some critters are like, you have to watch campaign 1 first. It's like, fuck off. Let her start where she wants to start.
Shit, no. Like, you would... That's a... I mean,
there's 115 episodes.
Yeah, you should eventually go back and watch it. But
yeah, I think so too, but you don't have to start there. That's over 800 hours of content. 800.
That's a lot of hours.
Because they do 4-hour episodes.
Oh my god.
Have you ever watched them?
No.
Have you ever played or watched anybody play D&D?
Yes.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
It depends. I used to play a bit. I played some D&D when I was in high school because there was a guy I liked, and he dragged me into it. And it was okay.
That's how it always starts. There's always a gateway drug.
I know.
Sometimes
and then I played it.
Sometimes it's Mountain Dew. Sometimes it's men.
Then I played with another guy that I met as an undergrad. His name was Andrew, and he was a chess grandmaster who was in the swing dance club, and he was very cute.
Oh, swing dance.
Swing dance chess grandmaster. Skinny as a rail. Very funny. Could do a Rubik's Cube in like 20 seconds.
So a wizard who...
He was a wizard.
Multi-classed into...
Yes. And then
having some sort of charm.
Yeah. He's very charming.
Wait, what did he multi-class with?
Bard. Not bard, but like having some sort of charm. So something with dexterity if he's doing swing.
Yeah. No, so I played with him for a while, and then it ended up like we broke up on my birthday. Which was kind of shitty. But I ended up like keeping all of his friends. So when we broke up, I kept his friends.
Nice.
So we kept playing. We just like didn't play with him. So we played for a while. And I played with another group, and they were all like improv comedians. And so it was just like less math and more just improv.
Yeah.
And then I ended up being, it was just like the most X-rated. I could never repeat anything we ever did in that game to literally anybody. Like,
so I DM'd a group, and the first game I DM'd, the female wizard, who is a friend of mine, who is now a kindergarten teacher, created with light and prestidigitation a giant, glowing, wiggling, pink dildo that was their light source going through the dungeon.
Wow.
So
I love you, Aubrey.
So we played D&D with my wife, who she decided to play a paladin, which was a terrible decision because everyone I play rogues and I hate paladins. And I played because they're paladins, they can just fuck right off. But my rogue, I was able to get I think like a half level in wizards, so I was able to do all the cantrip spells, so prestidigitation, and so Kashin's big thing was cleanliness. Like, that's what she had to keep everything. So we literally spent the entire campaign casting spells to make her armor dirty behind her back.
You guys are little shits.
It wasn't like on an off court. Like, we made like a mud stain like right on her the breastplate center, where like right over her deity's logo.
Gross. Her holy sigil.
It was like, I'm like, yep, you're a paladin. You're going to get fucked with.
If you want, like, just to try an episode out by them, the thing I put in chat is a one shot. So just a single mission, single thing. There are a lot of jokes based off of things that has happened with their characters in other campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still funny as a standalone. Okay. And they're utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. I just like it because...
Oh, sorry. No. Go for it. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I just like it because it is essentially Sam's, who is one of the characters, revenge to everybody.
Oh, shit. Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh,
because
no. Now I'm really excited to see it.
He was a little shithead, played a bard in the first campaign, and then played an artificer. Yeah, then he played an artificer. And it's his artificer character that's in this little one shot. And when the artificer first met up with Vox Machina decided to put him through a trial interview and basically beat the shit out of him. So Sam, who is creating his own brigade now after the fact of everything that's happened with Vox Machina, the epicness that was them, decides to put this brigade together, and same players, different characters, except for Terry Darrington. Mm-hmm. He makes them fight each other. He makes them kick each other's ass, and he just watches. He's great.
Okay, I'll have to check these both out.
Batman character. There's a Stitch character, like Lilo and Stitch. There's a Batman character. There's a Brooklyn, like, mobster character. It's fun. It's my happy place whenever I need to not think about normal stuff.
I like improv, like, story comedies, kind of.
Yeah.
They're my favorite podcast in the entire universe that is no longer on, and I'm really sad about it, is Improvised Star Trek. And they are all, like, very, very intricate knowledge people that know Star Trek backwards and forwards, and have created this hilariously, like, these very 3D characters in this, like, ship that the Sisyphus, and they're all, like, very bad at being Star Trek officers on this ship.
My goodness.
And it's very, very funny, and they definitely know their stuff, and it's hilarious. So if you know a lot about Star Trek, and even if you don't, like, it's still very funny.
Interesting.
You should definitely, like, go listen to it.
What was it called again?
The Improvised Star Trek. One of my favorite episodes, there is Kapla in Order is one of them. Hamnesia, like Kapla in Order instead of yeah. Hamnesia is another one of my favorite ones. There's just a bunch, but those are two of my favorite episodes.
That's funny.
Yep.
You watch a lot of comedy? Comedy or anything?
When I was married, I did. Not as much as I used to, because I just don't have time to watch stuff.
Sure.
I don't really watch anything anymore. I watch, like, The Masked Singer, and that's the one thing I watch.
I have not watched any of the latest season.
The new season is so good. They're all just so freaking talented, and the costumes are amazing. There's, like, popcorn is, like, one of the costumes.
Nice. I mean, the costumes are always really cool.
Oh, they're so good.
That's good to know. Because
the costumes are so
Little Wayne kind of upset me, and Sarah Palin very much so upset me, and made Julie rage quit the show for a while.
It upset me that, like, I didn't think she was bad at it.
Yeah, Julie
That's what upset me. I was like, really?
"Baby Got Back" is one of Julie's favorite songs of all time. And the fact that Sarah Palin did it it will to this day upset her. I find it fucking hilarious, and I may bring it up every once in a while just to see the look on her face. But
I mean,
she loves.
That's the point of having a mascot.
That's. Why did you make me remember that? I'm sorry, Black Flag.
I find it fucking hilarious.
Are they as good as Danny Osmond in season 1?
There is one from the first episode that is better than his first song from season 1. Yeah.
Because
they pointed out.
Showman.
Yeah, there's one. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have my attention.
Yeah. They are bringing it. Oh, Raven, you do not need to apologize.
Yeah, don't be
it's
upset
okay.
about that.
You can see Russia from your house. It's okay.
It's not even it's just the fact that that one was so shocking. That was probably the biggest reveal from that season in my mind.
Orchid. 3 different conversations, yet also one conversation.
Yeah, it's
accurate.
Just yep.
Oh,
you saw my tweet, yeah.
Sloan would absolutely fuck me up, and I'd allow it.
Why do you think I get massages every other week from my wife?
Because she's your wife and she knows how to do it.
Continue.
In more ways than one.
I mean, I was leaving it out there so people could complete that sentence themselves, but yeah.
She's very good at deep tissue massage. Take that as you will.
Tight.
I was trying really hard to not say, yeah, she is. God damn it.
Racing on the highest order. No, she is a specialist in that from the licensed massage therapist's perspective. Stop being unmain.
I can't help it. I'm on this podcast now. I'm always on main.
Right? She's hanging out with us, Black Flag. Don't you know we are sexy?
I'm here now. We're sexy. You can't see how sexy I am in my plaid shirt and my shirt that has a bunny carrying chainsaws, because that's what I decided to wear to work today.
Blue sent me a request for a t-shirt design for Focus Fire Chat where it's Hello Kitty, Hive Eyes.
Yes. I want that.
I don't draw. I have to figure out how to draw that or commission somebody to draw that.
I will find somebody. We'll ask the guy.
Ghost Raven.
I'll ask JoJo, who does Glad's emotes, to see if he'll draw it for us.
Yeah, I like JoJo. My mom just wanted a damn back rub. Yeah.
Oh, I cannot wait for... Oh, we didn't even talk about next week. Next week, Elemis is going to be on.
Yeah. Yes.
Yay.
Gonna be all sorts of sexy up on this.
Guys, it's just going to be, it's going to be Focus Fire Chat and Guardians of Lore is going to have a weird baby.
That's amazing. Just for all something, if someone manages to get an entire Darth Vader quote into an argument without the other person piecing it together, I feel like there should be some agreed upon auto win button, and all parties must stop arguing and agree that I have won.
Yes. Oh, Jesus.
I'm altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
There. Dwyer sent me that yesterday.
I've seen that one. Because it's true.
Oh, Vero, you want me to ask Aramis? I can text him right now and ask him. Aramis would totally do it.
What would Aramis do?
Draw us a Hello Kitty with the hive eyes.
Oh.
I do reads with him.
Nice.
Once in a very great while.
Why Black Flag?
That's a quote from Star Wars. Darth Vader quote. So green would have to auto win that button.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to see this.
It's Plu laughing before we see anything.
Oh shit! And I lost it. Come back, tweet.
No, the tweet's gone. It's ephemeral.
No, I found it. I found it. I found it. Shut up. Shut your face. Shut your face.
God damn it. God.
I don't know if that's Green's face while she's reading the picture or if she's reading something else.
Ask me reading the picture. Don't have to be good. Suck off moats. Hold up. Let me shut down my work laptop.
Let me shut down my work laptop.
Jesus. Talk about thirsty on Maine. Oh, Shiv.
Oh, God.
She just does not give a fuck. Like, some of the stuff she puts out there.
Oh my God. I have to see. Orchid, or we'll have to pull Orchid into the game chat that we have with Ben, so that she can be exposed to the meme wars that go on.
Oh my God. I mute that fucking chat, by the way.
What? I can't imagine why.
My God, you two are fucking juvenile in there sometimes. They blew.
I like they wait blew.
Well, you were doing the meme war, and then it somehow turned into this like slightly, let's see how uncomfortable we can make Green.
Well, because like you were in the chat, and I don't remember how like one of us put something, and you kind of made this like sound, and like without really communicating to any of us, all of us were like, let's see if we can make Green leave.
It turned very against terms of service very quickly. And poor Pens is in the same chat. And I can handle it. Pens can too, but Pens reacts much differently.
I'm afraid.
It's so bad.
I'm afraid of all of this.
It's amazing. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's...
Beaks, you're doing 8-minute runs for 750 Nightfalls.
Nice.
Oh shit, that's not too bad.
Are you still on right now? Is Jess up?
Speaking of going to bed, I am going to go do that because I do have to work in the morning.
I have to work tomorrow too, but whenever I want to.
Oh, good for you.
Hey, what do you mean it's no worse than my streams? How dare you? My streams are a thing that exists.
Your streams are fun.
Actually, I got a new game I'm going to try out on stream. It's called Axiom Verge. Jerry gave it to me. It's very spoopy, apparently.
Oh, see, I am a giant chicken shit and would have nightmares with any of that kind of stuff.
Have I played the Outlast audio from Justin's stream of Outlast?
Someone told me I should play Outlast on stream, and I'm
you should totally do that.
Play Outlast.
You should totally do that, Orchid. That sounds like a great idea.
If I never want to sleep ever again, sure.
I had trouble with Slender Man. Like,
oh my God. Okay, if you ever want to be scared and never be able to like sleep without the lights on for 3 days, watch something called Marble Hornets.
Nope.
That's Marble Hornets.
That's my sister.
Yeah.
Is that a movie?
That's Slender Man shit right there. Oh. Yeah, that's like, they call him the operator, but it's like found footage Slender Man stuff, and it is scary AF.
Style.
It is like terrifying stuff. Oh my god.
Nope.
Don't watch the movie. You have to watch the episodes. They have a movie that they had cut together with the episodes on Amazon Prime, but the actual episodes you have to like search for on Google because it was just a web series that someone made. They're not even on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, no, thank you. Nope. Nope. Your psychological trauma will lead to direct viewer count increase. Yeah. Isn't that how PewDiePie became famous? Because he was doing all those scary videos first?
Well, that was one of his channels. Yeah, he did he did a lot of different stuff, but that was the one that got him like super noticed, was because of the the level of reaction.
Yeah. God, no.
That's what you should do. No. That's what you should do to Toki.
No. But to Toki's right here.
Yeah.
Pineapple hat.
Oh, Toki, you'd be so cute looking like a pineapple kitty. Toki, come look at this. Oh, you're asleep. Come look at this anyway.
Wait, Toki, look. So I can show you this thing that you're not going to look
Toki,
at.
Look. Toki, look. Look, pineapple kitty. Oh, look at this. Hey, Davy. Yes, hello. Hello, Davy. We're pretty much done. Davy, say hello to Toki. Toki, say hello. Toki, he says, yo, Toki. It's your adoring public. You're so famous. And a blue and green, but mostly Toki.
Hi, Davy. Oh my goodness. Your subs may eventually pay for your psychiatry session.
No, I gotta make partner if I want them to actually pay for that.
Yeah, even then. I was gonna say even then you're probably not gonna get too much.
No, I gotta move to Scandinavia if I wanted to actually pay for it. Because they'd be included with my health insurance.
Yeah. This is true. Okay. Night, you two.
Night.
Good night.
Night stream.
Night stream.
Singing exit. Okay.
Goodbye, stream.